Make the switch to Newcastle Permanent and you could get $1,500 cash back on one of our great variable home loans. We reward our customers, not shareholders, and are an award-winning alternative to the 4 major banks. Which means you can get a great home loan and get on with life. Make the switch to Australia's Home Lender of the Year today. Newcastle Permanent.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So here we are, Grand Final Day 2018, and it's the best sides all season who will do battle on the biggest day. It's the Premiers Edgeworth, written off by many at the start of the season, up against a team who began 2018 as title favourites, Broadmeadow Magic. This really is a fantastic title decider that really has no favourite. It's right on an even keel tonight, and it'll be as tight as it gets. They're two teams who simply love to hate each other both on and off the park, and after their 2016 defeat at the hands of the Eagles, Broadmeadow are driven to go one better and break their 5-year grand final drought. But Northern New South Wales' premier side over the last 4 seasons stand in their way. 4 straight premierships and 2 championships. The Edgeworth Eagles, they simply have been unstoppable. But it simply all comes down to one match tonight. The big day, the huge match, and a chance to go down in history as a grand final winner. So here's the team news for Edgeworth Eagles, the side who finished the season in first place. They scored 37 goals and conceded just 16 in 2018. The best defence in the competition. Here they are on their way out. Will Bauer comes into the side, an attacking move from coach Damien Zane, and Jose Atadi, the hero from last week's victory over Lambton Jaffers, he drops back to the bench. In Edgeworth's starting lineup, they've got Josh Evans, the skipper, and teammate of Josh Rose at Brisbane Strikers back in 2003-04. And Josh Rose, Evans' teammate at the Strikers, he has the chance to go from wooden spooner in the A-League to champions with Edgeworth. And for Broadmeadow Magic, the side who finished 2018, the regular season, with the best attack in the NPL Northern New South Wales. They're coached by Ruben Zadkovic, and he makes just the one change from the side who went down in the second leg to Maitland last weekend, 1-0, but they got through 3-2 on aggregate. And that is John Griffiths, a forced move after he was red-carded in that clash. And Cody Carroll comes into the side, so you could say a more attacking move as well from Ruben Zadkovic. They've got Paul Bitts in their side, the goalkeeper of the year, alongside Josh Piddington in the defensive line. He plays in his 7th grand final for Magic this evening. He's been part of all Broadmeadow Magic's 6 grand final triumphs. Impressive. Cal Bradbury, he'll be leading Magic's line tonight. He's their leading scorer this season. 16 goals in the NPL, 21 in all competitions. On the bench for Edgeworth, Daniel McBrain, a real star. He's back from Mongolia, and he will be there. And Dino Fajkovic, he was in doubt, but he will take his place on the bench for Broadmeadow Magic after a hamstring scare. You can see referee there, Stephen Laurie, flanked by James Cleal, and Ryan Gallagher, who will be the 4th official, Ellie Hayes, the other assistant referee. The weather, it's 15 degrees here at McDonald Jones Stadium this evening. The wind 26 kilometres from the south-southwest, and that will be behind Broadmeadow Magic in that first half. There's Anthony Richards, the assistant coach for Broadmeadow Magic. Ruben Zadkovic just stalking his technical area. He coaches in his first ever grand final. His experience in the big games on the park. He won the 2005-06 A-League decider with Sydney FC. And there's Damien Zane. He attempts to win his 3rd grand final in 4 seasons as Edgeworth coach. You can see Gary Wilson, his assistant, alongside him on the bench. There's the referee, Stephen Laurie. He's been added to the A-League panel in 2018. He'll be a 4th official on that A-League panel this year. So you'll see him around the traps in the A-League this year, probably here at McDonald Jones Stadium for some Jets matches. So Broadmeadow Magic, it's Mitch Oxborough to get us underway. Former A-League player. Magic from right to left of screen in this first half. And we are underway in the 2018 grand final. Joining me in commentary this evening, Damien Smith and Peter Haynes. Boys, who's going to win this one? The Premiers Edgeworth or the team who began 2018 as the title favourites, Broadmeadow Magic?
Yeah, welcome everybody. Yeah, this is going to be a tight one. Pete, we've been in many grand finals together. How exciting is a grand final, especially playing here at McDonald Jones Stadium? It's they play a good little crowd in at the moment, but you know what? You're looking at both sides. Edgeworth undefeated in 14 games. They're taking form into the game. However, Broadmeadow Magic, They're on the attack straight away with James Virgili, and that's a foul on James Virgili. But you look at Broadmeadow Magic, they sort of bit of a stop-start sort of affair going into the semi-finals. They got past Maitland, but they've only won one game in the last 5, so their form hasn't been the best. However, they've got all their players back. They're ready to fire, and I think this is going to be a very tight one. It's going to come down the final 15 minutes.
Now standing over the free kick is Mitch Oxborough. If you wanted a man standing over a free kick that's on the field tonight, you'd probably pick him as he bends this one in towards the near post. Getting there first with a header was Pat Wheeler, and then Josh Lowe has fumbled it over the goal line, and it will be an early corner for Broadmeadow. So some pressure for Edgeworth to soak up early in the grand final. Finishing the season as premiers. First place up against second place Broadmeadow Magic. Saw a very early goal in the under-18s grand final in the opening 2 minutes. Can Broadmeadow Magic do likewise here? It'll be Cody Carroll to stand over this one. An inclusion after John Griffiths was ruled out, and not his best corner kick. He sense he'll get a few more opportunities though.
Yeah, boys, looking at the best attacking team, Broadmeadow Magic, versus the best defensive side, Edgeworth Eagles. What are your thoughts, Peter Haynes, on this game?
Hey guys, I got goosebumps before watching the guys walk out amongst the pyrotechnics at the stadium. It's a home of football, as far as we're concerned here in the Hunter region. What a night. It was supposed to rain. We got the weather report. We were a bit worried, but it's turned into an absolute cracking night. And I'm absolutely looking forward to a fantastic game of football. We'll see Cale Bradbury.
Here he is, James Virgili. Appeals for handball against Don Bazari.
Yeah, sorry, Damo, just to answer your question, we've seen Broadmeadow have a bit of success over the last probably 10 years, and that's absolute reverse to Edgeworth having a little bit of a dynasty at the moment, going 4 on the trot. So I'm expecting a cagey game. There's a bit of history between these two clubs and a few individuals within those two clubs as well. So a little bit of fireworks, but I'm expecting a cagey opening. I expect 1 or 2 goals will decide this one.
So Matt Houle with the throw. Part of that 2013 grand final winning side with Broadmeadow Magic. Here is Virgili. Couldn't quite keep it inside the line, and it will bounce over a couple of times. Just three members, Smudge, I was going to say, of Broadmeadow's last championship winning side. Josh Piddington, Luke Virgili, Matt Houle.
Just really quickly, Broadmeadow started with intent straight away, trying to force the game down in Edgeworth's defensive half. I love to see Mitch Oxborough on the ball nice and early. He's on the ball there and he sprayed it. Great, beautiful pass into Virgili. He can wait a pass. He's played on this pitch many times for the Breakers and for the Jets, and against other A-League for other A-League clubs. He's a quality player. He knows his pitch really well. Be good to see him on the ball nice and early.
Luke Virgili back to Piddington. Has a perfect record in grand final, 6 from 6 in Broadmeadow Magic colours. He missed their 2016 grand final against Edgeworth. Yeah, Broadmeadow went down 2-1. Some speed down the left flank from Bauer, and he's brought to ground. Should say, yeah, it is Will Bauer over there. So Edgeworth now with an opportunity to bend one in. Magic and Edgeworth have played in 2 grand finals previous to this one. Edgeworth have won both of them. You coached in the first one of those in 2003. Edgeworth winning that one 2-1.
Yeah, an extra time. Yeah, I remember that one.
Same scoreline in 2016.
And Pete played in it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was the black mark on my record. It's the first one I lost, and it wasn't a great day up for us that day. And Edgeworth were too good on the day, winning 2-1 that day. So Broadmeadow looking to turn that one around with Edgeworth the free kick in a dangerous position.
Here he is, Tyson Jackson, bending it in. Wheeler was in there. Majorowski and even Josh Evans almost getting a toe on it. He doesn't score many goals. The Eagles skipper hasn't scored one this season. Sam Maxwell was actually going to leave Edgeworth last year due to uni commitments, but Damien Zaney encouraged him to stay on, and now he's playing in a grand final.
And he's had a fine year, Sam Maxwell at right fullback.
There's Bauer, well shielded by Houle.
2 fouls in quick succession there for Houle, with Maxwell causing him a bit of trouble. I thought he might have been a little bit lucky to get away without a yellow card on the first one, and I wonder if Stephen Lowry was tempted to to get one out for the second one in quick succession, just slowing the progress of Maxwell trying to get him behind.
Yeah, and just quickly, I'll go back to it after this free kick.
So here he is, St Jackson. Getting there first with the header was Shane Paul, and Paul Bitts, almost a little bit of a fumble from him, the hero from last week's win. He's not going to have any troubles with that. And Bailey Garland just sort of toe poked it straight into his arms there. He made 2 penalty saves against Maitland. One of those was nodded back in by Matt Thompson. The second one, he saved the day.
Yeah, just going on back on Damien Zane's tactics here. Obviously, he's brought out a Tate. He's played in both semi-finals, put him on the bench. He's brought Will Bauer in against Matt Hill. Will Bauer's got pace. It's a smart move by Zane. And you look at Broadmeadow Magic here. Shane Paul playing left fullback. Luke Vigili playing sort of left side, not their usual positions, hey, Pete? So it'd be very interesting, especially the matchup with Shane Paul and Tyson Jackson on the right-hand side for Edgeworth.
Yeah, you're right, Damo. It's an interesting move, moving Luke Vigili from his preferred position at left back. Obviously brought Shane Paul back in. They're missing John Griffiths. They simply don't have a replacement for John Griffiths. He's that good and that influential in their football club that they do need to make some changes. So Zadkovic has opted to go to a back four, Hoole, Piddington, Vigili as a centre-back, and Shane Paul to deal with the Edgeworth attack. So I'll be interested to see what effect that has, not just on the quality of one-on-one matchups, but also the communication.
Yeah, exactly right.
Here he is, Luke Vigili, playing in that centre-back role. As we mentioned, he's been at left-back, and he made our Team of the Year, RTV Team of the Year this year at left-back. So it'll be interesting to see. He's a very experienced player. He actually began his first-grade career at Edgeworth back in 2008.
And just quickly, just looking out here, we spoke about this in the early game, Pete. Magic using a lot of width. It's a big park. Bradbury right on the touchline. I'm loving this, using their width. Normally they play a little bit narrow, their front three, but on a big pitch, use the width. There's going to be space for Oxborough all day.
And you can see Manchurowski, he got absolutely barreled over there, Mitch Oxborough. Resembled more of a rugby league tackle as Maxwell got into his work, and it was illegal.
And just on that, my point is, you want Oxborough on the ball, don't you, Pete? So if you can spread Edgy's defence and midfield, Oxborough is going to have space on the ball.
Exactly right. And you know the game plan for Broadmeadow is quite simple at the end of the day. It's to get Oxborough in as much space facing forward as they can and isolate Carl Bradbury and James Vigili with their defenders one-on-one and go from there. So good tactics early on.
So Hoole takes it on, looking for the back post. Josh Piddington was chiming in, and we saw this last week, Hainsey. Josh Piddington getting forward and causing some problems. I should say that was Luke Vigili nodding that one across, but Josh Piddington, he's right up there again this evening.
It was interesting last week, Ben. We spoke about it quite a number of times. The amount of time that Josh Piddington spent in the attacking third was extraordinary, really, for such a tight game in the situation they were in.
Goes the short corner, and Hoole. A little bit of a different approach. There he is, Josh Piddington, winning the header. And Josh Lowe, he took that one more comfortably than the first one he had on the night. Of course, took over from Nate Cavalieri midway through the season as the Eagles' first-choice goalkeeper. Nate playing for Kingston City down in Victoria, and he's actually here tonight watching. I've seen him in the crowd. Pat Wheeler, Pizzari.
And just one thing, just noticing there, and it did happen quite a bit last week, and it'd be something that Damien Zane would have identified, is the number of times that Josh Piddington did get caught forward. You've got Luke Vigili in there now as a centre-back who naturally likes to get forward, being in the usual left-back position. So in those moments of transition, like when Josh Lowe caught the ball there and they start their attack, just to identify the times when the Broadmeadow midfielders can't fill those gaps quick enough and leave some potential spaces to attack.
Let's talk form coming into this match. Broadmeadow, they'd only won one of their last five matches coming in here in all competitions. Edgeworth unbeaten in 14 matches. So two very stark differences in form, but really on the big day, I think you throw that out the window.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. Two completely different stories there, but we've seen it and lived it before. I mean, it's a one-off game. It's a big occasion, and people handle it differently. Edgeworth have won a few on the trot now, but they've actually got quite a number of young and new players in their squad. So I'm interested to see how they react. They're not in great form, but they've got big game players. They've got a lot of experience on the pitch, so I expect them to be able to handle it from the outset.
There he is, Damien Zane.
And they've got attacking weapons in Majorowski, Bradbury and Vigili. 14 and 14, 6 goals it's quite a great number. It's 82% of the goals they've scored this year. They're attacking. But just on Damien Zane, he's moved Don Bazzari from the midfield across on James Vigili. He does it every time they play Broadmeadow Magic. Don Bazzari's done a great job on James Vigili time and time again, and it's another move he's done. He's gone with the 4 at the back. Sometimes he plays 5 at the back against Magic, but I've noticed he's gone 4 at the back, and he's moved Pat Wheeler into the number 6, which the last few weeks he's been playing at the back. But he's a quality number 6 and has played there many times this year.
He's just on Don Bazzari. He's quite a obviously a good footballer. He's played a lot of football overseas. Spent a bit of time in Italy a few years ago, and he's probably one that flies under the radar for Edgeworth a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you, Hainsey. He's been one of their best this year. Is Vigili looking for Bradbury. Maxwell's almost made a meal of that. Well, he had. And then Josh Lowe cleaned up at the end of all that. That could have been a disaster for Edgeworth.
And again, Vigili playing a little bit wider, so he's getting one-on-ones with Bazzara, and he's got pace, as we know.
Look at this press.
Yeah. Oh, turnover.
And that press causes the turnover. Oxborough. And now Cody Carroll chiming in on the left. Bradbury. And now Justin Broadley. Workhorse in that midfield. And Piddington's ball lets him down.
Really, really good opportunity there for Cale Bradbury. James Vigili did well one-on-one and crossed the ball into the box. And we talk about big games and big occasions, and you've certainly got Cale and Chill, who are big game players. And I just get the feeling that this game's going to come down to 1 or 2 opportunities, and with that half chance, could it be the one that goes missing?
And Edgeworth, they lost the grand final last year 2-0 to Lambton, and it was those opportunities that they missed. Daniel McBreen had a couple late on and didn't take them, and it hurt them.
You know what? Sorry to cut you off, but you know what? Damien Zane said last week that they were very nervous at the start of the game against Lambton, like the second leg. They seem a little bit nervous again tonight. Magic's really got on the front foot early on, so. But I think they'll get into the rhythm of the game once the sort of game settles down a little bit. So they just slow and play up a little bit. Bazzari's been smart here. Just slow and play up a bit, get the boys settled a little bit. Playing with nice width, which I love. Tyson Jackson, pass the chalk.
You were talking goal scorer. That's a great little step from Maxwell to get away from Bradbury originally. He's able to win the ball back and Magic win the free kick. Goal scoring wise, Edgeworth have had 12 different goal scorers this season. Magic just the 8. And you've touched on that previously, Smudge, in the fact that Bradbury scored 16, James Vigili scored 14, and John Majorowski scored 7. In comparison, Edgeworth's top 3, Corley 6, McBreen 6, Burns 6. So while they haven't had a player score a bucket load, they've really shared it round.
I mentioned before, that's 82%. It's 82% of the goals come from 3 players from Magic. And, it's a great... Not a bad ball by Matt Hurl, but just cut out.
Is that dangerous, Smudge?
Sometimes it is dangerous because if you can mark them 3 out of the game, you think, where's the goals going to come from?
Here's the space for Tyson Jackson. He's got Bailey Garland charging up the middle. Didn't quite have the speed to run that one down. He would have needed some rockets in his boots, Bailey Garland. Well, he scored some big goals this year. He hasn't scored in 6 matches.
Just on those goal scorers there, Damo, I think it can go both ways. I mean, you've got those 3 key players for Broadmeadow Magic, and I don't think it's any secret locally where the danger is for Broadmeadow. So I think it's testament to probably a little bit to the way that Broadmeadow play, but definitely to those 3 players that people know what's coming. We can't necessarily stop it, and they continually score so many goals.
I don't know if you saw that. You might see it in a second. I'll bring it up again, but the electronic advertising boards, you can see it in the top corner, have just gone black. They literally just exploded. Now you'll be able to see it just in picture. There's a black, and it made a pretty decent crack, and flash. So hopefully that's all good. The security checking it out now as we speak.
Great challenge by Josh Evans. He's been absolutely superb this year, hasn't he, boys? Arguably one of the best players I've seen in 20 years in the local league, and a defender. He's been absolute quality.
You did say that to me earlier, Damo, and you do have a bit of history of making some pretty bold comments, but I can't disagree with you. I mean, he has been that big for the club, and I don't think it's any coincidence that Edgeworth's dominance in the league have really coincided with Josh Evans coming to the club and being so dominant. Fantastic player.
Pat Wheeler got his head to it, and then the strike from Justin Broadley. Just 1 goal this year. Well, wouldn't have that been a wonder goal from him from outside the box?
And again, good pressure by Magic on the Edgeworth defence, causing the turnover. It pops out to Bradbury and, to Broadley, and he just got over it a little bit. But yeah, I think Josh Evans, you look at Josh Evans, they've won 4 on the trot, premierships. They've been in 4 grand finals, and the turnover of players they have each year, he's probably, he connected really well, but good pressure by Edgeworth on Broadley. But you have to remember the turnover each year, he's been the core in Edgeworth, with a few other players as well, but he's been absolutely superb.
Speaking of turnover, just 5 Edgeworth players in the squad tonight that played in last year's grand final. So it just shows you how well they've done. That core group really changing. But they've had those core men, Wheeler, Evans, Holtz, Bazari, McLaughlin, who's not playing tonight. But those men are primarily defenders.
And again, I like the way Magic's shaping up here, Pete. They're nice and compact. They're playing not a bad, like the line's not too deep. Like it's sort of a good balanced line, probably 30 yards between front and back. I think it's nice and compact.
Yeah, and they need to be. If they're going to have success tonight, the likes of Justin Broadley and Cody Carroll are going to be huge. If they can limit the space in between those two lines and not let Edgeworth get those forward runners, so we see this free kick come in.
Adam Corley, the haircut and almost an own goal from Broadmeadow Magic.
What a save by Bits, reflex save.
Hasn't he been brilliant this year? When he's been called upon, Paul Bitts has been brilliant this year.
Like to see that one again.
Great reactions.
He said the last time he was in a grand final, Ruben Zadkovic was his captain, and now he just yells at him, he says. Yells at him from the touchline.
He's been superb this year. He's had 9 clean sheets. Here it goes again. Swung in beautifully by Crawley. Great ball in. Piddington. Off Piddington. Yeah. What a great save.
Wonderful save.
Virgili.
There he is. Virgili. It will fall for Bradbury at the back post. Trying to smooth Maxwell this way and that, and Sam Maxwell stands tall.
He's been good this year, Bradbury, Pete, hasn't he? Very sharp on his feet. Scored 14 goals or 16 goals, including semi-finals. Been one of the Magic's best by far.
21 if you include the cup.
And you know what, I think he's been dangerous for a lot of years, Damo. And you had him at the club when he was just coming through with Andrew Hoole, who's obviously gone on to bigger and better things. But I think he's really matured over the last couple of seasons.
Hoole swings this one in.
He's a player that understands the game really well. Probably doesn't get enough credit for how smart a footballer he is. Yeah. He's really dynamic, obviously quick and can finish, but he's quite a smart footballer and he's matured quite a lot.
Better delivery, and it was Luke Virgili. John Majorowski alongside him, but it was Virgili who got there first.
They're just peppering, aren't they, Magic? They've sort of started on the front foot. They're probably just shading Edgeworth at the moment. Great ball in by Matt Hurl. Oh, was it John Majorowski?
Was Majorowski.
I think you'll find, like you touched on it, Pete, there's only going to be a few chances in this game unless someone's chasing the game towards the end. It's going to be all in defence. And as you know, Edgeworth's defence, they've only conceded 16 all year. He's absolutely rock solid.
And I just get the feeling, and Broadmeadow are in a good patch at the moment, and it's going to go in swings and roundabouts. So Edgeworth they're going to have their chance, but I get the feeling that Broadmeadow need to capitalise on this possession and these good times.
Virgili.
He's shown plenty of toe down that right-hand flank. He's been so dangerous, James Virgili, and what a run. It was just that final touch which has let him down. He's been one of Magic's best across the opening 20 minutes here, James Virgili. Dynamic down that left flank.
He's been lively.
Right flank, I should say.
You mentioned before, Damo, that Bazari's gone out there to do a job tonight, as he often does, and I think Virgili's the points winner at the moment. He's looked really dangerous.
I think part of the reason as well, he's playing wider, so there's more space, and he's got pace, where before, I think he's played a bit too narrow, and Bazari, you can actually double team him. Bazari can just hold. Your centre-back comes across, you double team, he's got nowhere to go, and he has to just play it backward. Where here, they're playing with width, which I'm loving, and there's more space and beyond.
You can see he's out of picture at the moment, but you can see Cale Bradbury. The ball's on the right-hand side of the pitch there, just with Josh Piddington. Cale Bradbury is almost on the touchline on this left-hand side, really trying to to get the likes of Maxwell to make a decision. Do I go over and cover him and leave the hole in the middle and leave Josh Evans isolated, or do I stay inside and let Kale get the ball and potentially have a one-on-one situation with me?
I've just got some comments coming through on our Facebook stream. Josh Spark, former Edgeworth player.
Loves Josh Spark.
He says, big shout out to Bar TV. How brilliant that I can watch the NPL Grand Final from the UK. Josh Mason and Gareth Wazick, you are doing amazing things. They're, of course, the head honchos, along with Brendan.
Majorowski.
Here he is.
And Evans just cut the ball out. Great ball in.
If I know Josh Spark well enough, and how you going, Sparky, I assume he's watching the game doing a couple of one-handed push-ups and having a protein shake. Definitely not having a beer and a pump.
He's a funny man,
It's
Josh
about
Spark.
10, I think, in the morning. Oh, that's probably about 9, 8 or 9 in the morning in the UK, I'm pretty sure. So here we go. Magic with another corner. So if we're deciding this match on a points decision at the moment, we're giving it to Magic. They've just been the better side. Created the majority of the chances. And again, it's this short corner from Magic. It's interesting. Matt Houle and Luke Virgili rose well at the back post. It will be a corner.
Yeah, definitely looking at, a couple of variations on their set plays early on, and definitely looking for Luke Virgili at the far post to try and get something knotted back across. Definitely something that they've obviously worked on it in the training ground.
Just got another text through. We'll say a big shout out up in Queensland to Michael and Adrian Perisic. Broadmeadow fans watching the game with the scarves draped over the TV.
Is Houle. Really bent that one in. Get another opportunity here. There is Josh Piddington. Again, those headers across the face of goal from Broadmeadow. You feel like they could bear fruit if it continues in this vein. Oxborough skewed it wide to Bradbury, and his final strike lets him down.
A great little touch there from Oxborough. Took the ball under pressure and somehow a little outside of the foot, left foot outside of the foot to Kale Bradbury to open up some space. We talked about big players before, and we look at Edgeworth's side. We've obviously got Daniel McBreen on the bench. We've got Josh Rose, A-League winning player. We've got Don Bazar with a lot of experience. But one player on that pitch for me who's going to have a huge impact on this game is Mitch Oxborough. He spent a little bit of time off the field recently due to suspension. But if there's one player who knows how to play big games, he knows the pitch, obviously, and he can control the tempo and the pace of this game to make sure it suits Broadmeadow.
And just on that, he's playing in like the number 10, just behind John Majorowski. I'd like to see him a little bit deeper, so he can he can face the game. He can spray the ball. He's got a beautiful passing range. But yeah, he does a fine role at the number 10. But I like him just a little bit deeper. But he'll probably drop deeper anyway into those holes. There'll be space around, and he can really set the game up for Magic. But just on Edgeworth Eagles, there's a nice nod on Majorowski. Just that previous play what went to Bradbury in the box, the desperation and pressure from Edgeworth for Eagles on Bradbury was superb, wasn't it? That's why they've only conceded 16 goals all year.
Yeah, best attack in Broadmeadow Magic up against the best defence. 44 goals for Magic in the regular season across 20 matches. And for Edgeworth, 16 goals conceded in 20 matches. Just a really incredible record. And you can see the blue armbands that both sides are wearing. That's in honour of Jared Humbo Hayter, who passed away in tragic circumstances this week. I'll go into more detail on that in the next 5 to 10 minutes, because there was an incredible show of support pre-match from both sides. Shane Paul up and over the top now for the turn of John Majorowski. Here's Virgili taking them on and delivering to Majorowski. Once again, John Majorowski is the man for Broadmeadow Magic. In these championship games, he doesn't let you down. 1-0 Broadmeadow.
And again, James Virgili, nice and wide. He's got space. Burns down the right-hand side. Beautiful cross. And Majorowski. We talk about Majorowski in the box, in the 6-yard box. He delivers, doesn't he, Peter Haynes? We play with him. We coach against him. We coach with him. He delivers. He knows where the goals are.
You talk about big players. You see the replay here. James Virgili, he's done a number of times already with the fantastic crossing. That time it was Kale Bradbury making a run across the line to the near post. And John Majorowski has just ghosted him behind Josh Evans, and it was a super header, diving down, no chance for Josh Lowe. We talked about big players. John Majorowski, I think he's still the only player to win the Youth League back in the old NSL days, the Youth League Player of the Year 2 years in a row. Had a huge future in the game, obviously cruelled by injury. He had a couple of knee injuries back in the day when he was a bit younger, but big-time player, scores lots and lots of important goals, always have, and has done exactly that again tonight.
So Tyson Jackson just runs this one down inside the byline, where he's met by Shane Paul. He got away from him. Comes to Broadley. So for the third straight grand final, Edgeworth concede the opening goal.
Yeah, just on that goal, Maxwell, he just sort of ball washed a little bit. He allowed, like you said, Majorowski ghost in, allowed him, and it was a free header inside the 6-yard. He's never going to miss from there, is he?
No, but the run by Cal Bradbury was a smart one, and it was one of those thankless runs that don't necessarily get noticed, but has a huge effect on the play. He's run across the line, across John Majorowski's line, taken a defender with him, and has allowed that space in behind Josh Evans for John Majorowski to come in and dive and head that into an open net. And
to be honest, there's nothing better than an early goal just to open things up a little more. Last year it was so tight until Lambton found the winners late in extra time in the second half. But this will just open Edgeworth up, knowing that they've got to score.
And Edgeworth played for the full 90 minutes. We've seen it last week against Lambton. Like I said, they started a little bit nervous. Bailey Garland, good little run off the back four, forces Luke Vigili to come out of his line.
And to Broadmeadow's credit, nothing less than they've deserved in the start of this game. I think they've been fantastic.
Don Bazzari they have turned up big time tonight, Broadmeadow. Let's just talk big goals for John Majorowski. So scored the winner for Magic against Hamilton in the FFA Cup round 7 to get them through to the round of 32. Scored in the round of 32 against Canberra, some couple of goals that night and some big ones to get Magic ahead. And then again here tonight. And probably should have scored in the round of 16 match against Bentley. He was so close on a couple of occasions. So he stands tall when the spotlights are on.
This is the fittest I've seen Johnny Majorowski in about 5 or 6 years. He's looking fit. He's trimmed down. He's looking really good.
So Adam Cooley to stand over this one. Looking for Josh Evans. Oxborough. And John Majorowski's first grand final since 2014 when Lambton beat Western 2-0 at Jack McLaughlin Oval at Edgeworth.
Just on Josh Piddington here, the captain, he's marching their boys up. He said as soon as the ball went forward, he's getting them up. Nice little staggered back four there, which is always good, sort of sweeping around a little bit. And that's a good pick by Cody Carroll.
Dylan Holtz turns it over. He doesn't do that too often. Barreling across was Pat Wheeler. But the ball ricochets to Majorowski, who is sizing up the shot. He takes on the strike. And Josh Lowe did very well. He had to get across to his left.
He's enjoying this, John Majorowski, isn't he?
You don't give John Majorowski space around the box, as we know. But go to Cody Carroll. He pinched the ball early off Dylan Holtz, didn't he? And then played it into John Majorowski. Gets past the defender. Great shot. Great save by Josh Lowe.
Just back to, you mentioned Josh Piddington marching the defenders up. The reason why he'd be doing that is that the Broadmeadow players will be really conscious about the space in the middle of the park and how much space the likes of Holtz and Corley have in the middle of the park. You talk about how many goal scorers they've got, and the forward runs from those two players especially are really, really dangerous for Edgeworth.
So here it is, the variation again for the third time tonight. Up goes Sam Maxwell.
You know, with that variation, I'd like to see...
Here's Piddington. Picks out Majorowski, who brought it down. There was definitely no handball. And now Adam Corley. And there's a problem here. We will come back to it because Edgeworth are breaking forward. And they're not going to put the ball out, which means Magic probably don't have to either. So here he is, Bailey Garland, across the face! Bitts couldn't get there. And I'm pretty sure it's Don Bazzari who is still prone down Edgeworth's end of the ground. And Stephen Laurie has decided to stop play. Now, this does not look good.
Not the type of player who stays down, Ben. He's quite an honest player, tough player, so a bit of concern here for Dom.
Is this a head clash or something?
Yeah, I thought it was a head clash. It was a little front-on clash, so it'll be good to see the replay. But just back on that, great ball by Bailey Garland across the face of the goal. And, yeah, there was just no one in the back stick.
Just while Don Bazzari is receiving treatment, we'd just like to acknowledge both Maitland and Hamilton earlier in the under-20s. Broadmeadow Magic, you can see Ruben Zadkovic as well, the Broadmeadow coach. They've been wearing blue armbands today to pay their respects to West Wallsend under-19s player Jared Humbo-Hater, who sadly passed away during the week He was injured in a work accident 2 weeks ago. He played the last 4 seasons at West Wallsend, a season at Adamstown, before that also at Lakes. He made his first grade starting debut this season against Cahaiba and played in 5 first grade games. And no doubt Jared had a bright future in the Bluebells colours. He was born and raised in the Westie area. He played his junior football at Barnsley and the Haters. They've been involved with West Wallsend for many years. And since the injury, West Wallsend's under-19s team have been hanging his number 9 shirt on the bench. West Wallsend won the under-19s grand final. Isn't that a special story against Cahaiba, 1-0 for him? And our condolences go out to the Hater family and friends, West Wallsend Football Club and the wider community. The football community, the football family coming together once again. We saw the tribute pre-match. The family came out with his number 9 shirt, placed it on the turf here at McDonald Jones Stadium.
And I'd like to give the Northern New South Wales Federation, that was brilliant what they did today. That tribute to
it was
Jared
beyond
Hayter.
brilliant, wasn't it?
It was absolutely brilliant. It was devastating and sad to watch the family walk out with his number 9 shirt, but an absolute brilliant tribute to the young fella. And just looking at Don Bazzari, looks like he's back on his feet. So you don't see Don Bazzari go down, do you, Pete?
No,
it was collected by Oxborough, but it was accidental, obviously.
Yeah, I think it might have just been a little bit of a stray elbow or a shoulder, and you're exactly right, Damon. You don't see Don go down at all. So yeah, must have copped a decent knock. But good to see he's back on his feet and he's okay.
So James Vigili, can he cause the Eagles more headaches down that right side? He did score against them earlier in the season. He goes down, was it inside or just on the edge that Stephen Laurie wasn't going to make a decision to blow the penalty on that occasion? It was a little soft.
Can I say one thing about Magic this week compared to probably the last 5 or 6 weeks, even against Bentley Green? They played so narrow in attack. They're playing with width, they're getting space, they're getting their midfielders on the ball. I really like what Ruben's done with the side this week. I've been a bit critical because the front three have been quite narrow throughout the course of the season. And against top 4 sides, they haven't beaten a top 4 side in the regular season. So, but now they're playing with width, they're getting space, and it's allowing the midfielders to actually play.
Yeah, that and they're dominating the middle of the park. You know, the Oxborough and Cody Carroll especially, getting on the ball lots. They're finding lots of space and they're facing forward. Something that, especially last week, they really struggled to get any kind of control over the game in the middle of the park.
Josh Lowe onto his namesake, Josh Evans. And here's Dylan Holtz.
But there's no doubt. Oh,
and Cody Carroll, look at that press from the youngster. 2016 Jets Player of the Year, and he has had a really tough year. His dad passed away a couple of years ago. He found it really difficult. And now he's playing some of the football of his life here at Broadmeadow Magic.
Well played by Stu Laurie, the referee. Allow play on. I like that.
And now Don Bazzari on the deck moments ago. He's back to his feet and good to go at the moment.
Well, it's just one thing. We're talking about Broadmeadow just being on top at the moment. They're playing really well, actually. This is the best I've seen in the last few weeks. However, don't discount Edgeworth. They'll come back. This is going to be a 90-minute game, and they'll fight. They started a bit nervous, like last week against Lambton, but they'll come back. They'll get, like you said, Pete. There'll be periods in this game where they'll get on top and they'll get opportunities. So,
yeah, and this is a situation. I'm sure you've found yourself in, Damo, a number of times, especially in big games, where you find yourself, the momentum's gone away from you. You find yourself, you're under the pump a little bit. What's important is you just need to ride it out. You just need to stay patient, trust in your game plan, trust in your coaching staff and what they've told you, and make sure that you limit the damage. Broadmeadow having a really good patch, and it's been for almost half an hour now. They've been fairly dominant. They've got their reward for that, but it's important that Edgeworth stay in control, keep going through the same processes, because they will get their chance.
And Broadmeadow, they have had a pretty poor run of matches against Edgeworth. They've won just one of their last 13 against the Eagles. That was last year in the semi-final. They won 2-1, but they went out on aggregate. So really, over 90 minutes, they haven't beaten Edgeworth since 2015, back in round 3, a night that you, Peter Haynes, scored at Jack McLaughlin Oval in that 4-1 win.
Excellent.
You had a good night.
just a big shout out to, we normally got Chris Turner in the box, don't we? But thank God we've found a better replacement than Chris Turner in Peter Haynes. So, yeah, big shout out to Peter Haynes. It's his daughter's birthday, Holly, big 17.
Chris's daughter, mate.
Oh, Chris's daughter. Sorry, Chris's daughter, Holly. a big shout out, a big happy birthday. Pete Haynes doing a lot better job than your old man usually does. So, and congratulations to the Jets under 16s who won the 18s grand final.
Yeah, Teo Greaves will be there, I'm sure.
Oh, he'll be there for
He's
sure.
a close family friend of CT's.
So yeah, there'll be quite a few Jets boys there. Have a great night. We might pop over for a quick Diet Coke later.
I think those Jets boys will be in 7th heaven at CT's because they won 7-1, Smudge.
Anyway, big shout out to Holly. So
yeah,
have a
shout
great
out to
night.
Holly. Have a great birthday.
So the Eagles mascot's joined us down on the sideline, Ben.
And yeah, the Eagles mascot has joined us, and the Magic fans, he's doing a dance in front of the Magic fans and just behind the Magic bench as well.
Reminds me a little bit
There he is.
of...
Right behind the Magic bench.
Is that Dean Conway in that suit?
What can we find out? Text us if you know. Messages. I'll read out some more shout-outs if you... Wherever you're watching. If you're watching in Australia, you can shout us out. But if you're watching outside of the country, we really want to hear from you. We want to really see how global this coverage is because it's wonderful to be able to do this and bring it to you every week for the entire season. So we're just heading towards half-time. Just over 8 minutes to go. Ben Homer, Damien Smith, Peter Haynes with you in commentary for the 2018 NPL Northern New South Wales Grand Final. Edgeworth Eagles, they finished the season in first, up against second place Broadmeadow. You heard Peter Haynes. That was a wonderful long ball to Cale Bradbury. And it was John Majorowski who was the difference between the sides at the moment. Great ball from Carroll to Oxborough. Here he is, John Majorowski, and it's an own goal. Well, it was calamitous, but Magic are ahead by 2 goals to 0. It was the link-up play from Cody Carroll and Mitch Oxborough, which really set that up. Superb from Broadmeadow.
Benny, chalk that goal up to the quality of Mitch Oxborough. If we get the chance to see it on the replay, the controlled possession there for a good 4 or 5 passes at the back. He sprayed a good 60-metre pass down to Cale Bradbury, and then he followed it up, and he was the one who received the pass back from Cale, crossed it in, and that is a magnificent pass.
And that's why we like him playing a bit deeper. When he picks up the ball deeper, he can spray the ball anyway.
See Cale Bradbury, won his one-on-one situation there,
and now
then Mitch Oxborough's picked the ball up again.
He's ran 60 yards, beautiful cross across the face of the goal. Majorowski unfortunately misses it, but it's an own goal from Josh Rose.
He should have made it 2 for himself, but that won't be his, John Majorowski. That'll be Josh Rose's, the hero for Edgeworth over the last 2 weeks.
Can I just quickly say, I know it's early days at the moment, but at the moment, Ruben Zakovic has got these tactics perfect. He's playing with width for the first time in a while, and it's spreading the game. It's allowing Mitch Oxborough to have time on the ball. And he's able to spray the passes, and his attacking weapons are having space on the ball as well, and they can be a real threat.
So Edgeworth will really have to respond now.
But you know what? Don't discount Edgeworth Eagles. Hey, Pete, they never die wondering, do they? They're a full 90-minute side. They're going to get opportunities.
Absolutely, Damien, and that'll hurt them, that goal. 7 or 8 minutes out from half-time. They were just getting themselves into the contest. They started to pin Broadmeadow back a little bit, but again, big players in big moments can change games. And Mitch Oxborough with one of the passes of the season. That was a good 60-metre pass on Cale Bradbury's left foot. And then to follow it up with and cross it into John Majorowski for a little bit of a tangle and an own goal. But Broadmeadow with a well-deserved 2-0 lead. They are well on top at McDonald Jones Stadium at the moment.
And just a shout out, Brad Duncan, he is watching the game on Facebook in Bali tonight. Love it. Love it.
And a big shout out to Andy Roberts, my good old mate, my suit mate. If you ever want to look your best, Peter Haynes, you go and see Gentlemen's Outfitters at Charlestown. Take your combi up there.
Always
drop
go
it
there.
off, park
Always
out the front.
go there.
Yep. No petrol, Andy Roberts, the General.
Great suits there. Dylan Holtz. And while we are in shout-out mode, can we just give a shout-out to Grant Sproul from Sproul Sports Focus. He does all our graphics for the NPL, helping us with the NPL show for our Player of the Year and Team of the Year graphics. Thanks so much, Sprowley, and make sure you check out his website, Sproul Sports Focus. Just Google it, you'll find it. Take some wonderful photos. He took that incredible shot of Riley McGree's scorpion kick goal that went around the world and is up for a Pushkas it's been nominated for the Pushkas Award. Hopefully it wins because it deserves to. And that was an incredible night here. That's a goal you just never forget, being able to watch that live.
And how well was that called by Brenton Speed?
Oh,
Just
top night.
off the top of his...
Yeah, that was out. That's probably one of the best moments of commentary that I've heard, to be honest with you. Here's Sam Maxwell, almost down towards the byline. Can he create something? He won't be able to.
You know, it's a good tussle between Shane Paul and Maxwell, isn't it? They're both sort of the same height, same centre of gravity, and like Tyson Jackson on the right-hand side. So he's in his own, not usual position. Obviously he's a Magic supporter. He's smiling and happy.
I think he'll be at the Suns game tomorrow, Smudge.
Yeah, he'll be there.
Just a reminder, we are covering that Zone Premier League Grand Final. We'll be there, myself, Damien Smith, Chris Turner from 2:30 at Magic Park, Newcastle Suns versus Katara South. We're up for our last hurrah of the season. So this isn't it tonight. We get one more chance to stuff it up. Here's Bazari. And Bailey Garland, but the impetus in the front third is not flowing the way of Edgeworth at the moment. Here's Josh Evans.
I think it's important they just stay patient. They'll get opportunities. Magic very deep here. There's a lot of space in midfield just in front.
Now sitting back, Bauer. That's with the 1-2, Oxborough.
One of the reasons they're sitting so deep is you can see Holt and Crawley are playing quite high themselves. So there's Carroll especially is the one who's picking up Dylan Holt, who is really dangerous for Edgeworth, usually making those runs in behind the strikers. So they're prepared to just play one-on-one there and sit deeper with those guys to make sure that they absolutely don't get outnumbered, Virgili and Piddington.
Yeah, I like the way Bailey Garland peels off the back four into the pockets. He just did it just early, faces up. So, but that was good. That was good defence by Magic. They sort of just sat there, held their line, never came out of their line.
And they can afford to be a little bit patient now. You can see Hoole isolated now with Don Bazari.
So Don Bazari receiving that pass from Wheeler, and that was the opportunity that Edgeworth really had to take before half-time.
What a great header, a defensive header. Just a flick on it, just to know who that came off. Might have been Pinnington. Great ball across by Bazari.
Cody Carroll just holding off Holtz, and Bradbury up the line. But they are sitting back deep before half-time here, Broadmeadow Magic. Maybe just trying to conserve their advantage.
To me, I think they're just going to close this half out. They've got 2 minutes to go.
Look at this. It's basically an
eight-man back line, isn't it?
It is.
I think I've spoken before, Damo, is the ball forward that'll go through to Paul Bitts in goals. We've spoken before of Broadmeadow games, and Ruben Zadkovic, he really is trying to drill into his players how to manage games and make sure that, important periods of time, he talks about the first five, the last five, and the 5 minutes after a goal is scored as being the key areas of the game. And I think that's what you're seeing now. Piddington, Luke Virgili, Shane Paul, and Matthew Hoole really communicating to his players to make sure that they're really tight in this last 5 minutes, that they absolutely don't concede. They don't need to score another goal at the moment, and to try and lock this up and get into half-time at 2-0.
They really are the most important parts of the match, especially this period before and after half-time.
Great positional play by Josh Pinnington.
And they really can afford to do it, Broadmeadow, because they're up by 2 goals and they deserve the advantage. Edgeworth really haven't got going.
That's good play from Piddington. He's seen a good overlapping run from James Virgili there, but no need to get forward and potentially give the ball away. He's rolled out. He's gone back to Paul Bitts, slowed the game down, make sure they can get into position and start playing out.
Paul Bitts just launches one towards Majerowski.
God, he's good at holding the ball up, Majerowski. He just positional play. He backs in.
He laid it off to James Virgili, who just knocks it straight to Josh Lowe. So he sense we may have a couple of minutes stoppage time.
Yeah, for Bazari down. He was down for a few minutes.
I don't think we've got the board. I'm surprised that Ryan Gallagher, the 4th official, hasn't got the board.
Will he put fingers up, do you think?
I don't think he'll do that. That'd be a little bit...
And again, great defensive structure from Magic.
So Damo, being a coach, premiership, winning multiple times, coach of the year. Edgeworth find him multiple times coach of the year. Sorry.
James Virgili just breaking forward, and Bazari intervenes.
I was just going to mention, Edgeworth find themselves in a bit of a new situation here. Down 2-0 at halftime in a big game. You're in Damien Zane's shoes. What's going through your mind at the moment, Damien?
One thing is you don't panic. I think you just go back to your structures, but go back to your play. I just think they looked a bit nervous in the first half. It's easy turnovers. Here's Pat Wheeler on the ball.
Now Will Bauer. Can he deliver a killer ball? He can't. Josh Piddington. As we mentioned, he hasn't lost a grand final in Broadmeadow Magic colours. 6 grand finals before tonight, 6 wins. And at the moment, he's looking good for a 7th straight grand final.
You can see Mitch Oxborough, sorry Ben, cut you off. You can see Mitch Oxborough there. We're into stoppage time in the first half. Broadmeadow are comfortable. Matt Hoole plays a long ball, and Mitch Oxborough, the professional he is giving Matt Hoole an absolute roasting for not rolling the ball into him and keeping possession and seeing this half out. That's what's going to get Broadmeadow over the line if they're going to do it tonight, is that continual attitude to make sure that they're doing the small things right.
Yeah.
So this could be...
But going back on Damien Zane, I think the most important thing is do not panic. They know they're going to come home strong. They know how Magic play. Magic's had an excellent half. This is probably the best I've seen them play. I think...
Since you were there.
Here's Josh Evans with the header away.
I think at the moment Ruben's got it right. I love how he's playing with width.
I've just got a text in Josh Evans' family. They're watching in Brisbane. Hope they're enjoying the coverage as well. Result not going the right way at the moment, but Josh Evans has been mighty again. Here's Shane Paul now. Came off the bench in that 2016 grand final defeat for Magic against Edgeworth. Bailey Garland just got in front of Vigili, but there were Magic men swarming around him and dispossess him.
And whenever you've got Daniel McBreen on the bench, you're always a chance, aren't you, Damo?
Well, that was my question. When do they bring him on? When does Damien Zane look at Daniel McBreen, who's under 18 Jets side, or he's emerging Jets 16s, won the under 18 title, 7-1. It was a goal fest for them.
Yeah, you at least give him half hour, I think, especially if they're down 2-0. He's such a big game player. We've seen it many times this year in the NPL. But to me, they still look just a little bit nervous. Edgeworth, not as fluent as usual, but there's plenty of time.
So Sam Maxwell now.
You've seen last week, they scored 2 goals in the last 5 minutes of extra time.
Well, they haven't scored on this ground, Edgeworth, and that will remain the way at half-time in the 2018 Northern New South Wales NPL Grand Final as Stephen Laurie brings the curtain down on the opening 45 minutes. And it was all Broadmeadow Magic. They deserved the 2-goal advantage. John Majerowski with the first, and Mitch Oxborough and Cody Carroll combined exquisitely for the second, which Josh Rose put into his own net. So half-time in the 2018 Grand Final. It's Edgeworth Eagles 0, Broadmeadow Magic 2.
So Pete, what are your thoughts on the first half?
Look, Damien, I think it's, from a neutral's perspective, I think it's exactly what we wanted to see. We knew Edgeworth and the qualities that they've got and how they can grind the game out and wear teams down and score goals when they need to important times of the game. Broadmeadow, on the other hand, we expected them to want to come out all guns blazing. We know the qualities that they've got in their attack with Bradbury, Majerowski and Vigili. And that's absolutely played out. We've seen Broadmeadow have started out 100 miles an hour. They were pressing so high up the pitch. They had lots and lots of energy. And essentially they blew Edgeworth out of the water for the first 10 minutes. Didn't get their reward in the first 10 minutes, but they go into half-time 2-0 up and were good value for their lead.
Yeah, totally agree. I think, like I said, I've brought this up a few times during the coverage. 2 things for Broadmeadow Magic. In attack, they're playing with width. It's allowing them their midfield space, especially Oxborough, which obviously created a goal. But also, they have to pay tribute to their defence. Their defence has been absolutely rock solid. They've limited Edgeworth to only just a few half chances. There's Majerowski after he scored a break. He's been very solid, hasn't he, Pete?
He's been excellent. You can see there what it means to him. He's been at the club before, John Majerowski. For whatever reason, didn't quite work out the first time that he was at the club. He went away and had some success at some other clubs. And I know when Ruben made the call to try and bring him back this year, he was really excited. He really wanted to prove to a lot of people that he can do it for Broadmeadow. It's a club that he's got a lot of passion for. As you can see, his second goal here, I'm going to give it to Madge.
So that was after Oxborough's 60-yard beautiful ball across the face. Majerowski had such a good chance of Josh Rose.
Probably should have scored the first time, Maggie. He'd be disappointed that he didn't tap that one in himself. But when you need big players, I've said it before tonight, when you need big players to stand up and put a performance in, you look at people like John Majerowski and you say, well, can you do it for us on the big stage? And he does it every single time.
So, Peter, I'm going to ask you, Damien Zane, you're in the sheds. What are you going to say to the boys? Obviously not panic.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't win premierships as often as they have, and you know, you can't be in 4 grand finals without being a quality side. And we need to remember the qualities that have gotten them, you know, those records. They've got enough quality on the pitch and on the bench to get a result out of this game. We know their defensive qualities. Bizarri, Josh Evans especially, I think, have been outstanding tonight in a side that's losing 2-0. But I think they need to get a little bit more out of the likes of Corley and Holtz, giving some support to Garland. It's been a little bit isolated up front, and I think where they've had a lot of success in the past is when you see those 2 midfielders making runs beyond the front player. So that's what I think Damien will be looking for.
And someone like Corley, he scored many goals against Broadmeadow. He ghosts him beyond the back 4, in between a Pennington and a Vigili. But for Broadmeadow Magic, Ruben, he must be happy at half-time.
I don't think he'd be able to ask any more of his players. I think if you asked, you know, how we'd like this game to be played out in this perfect world, I think he'd be pretty close to what's happened tonight. His big players have been really, really good. The likes of Oxborough, Pennington, Vigili, who's played out of position, has been excellent. Hoole in a difficult position over there against Bauer, sorry. Left-hand side has done a really good job in a one-on-one situation, and then the front 3 have been magnificent. Majerowski, Bradley and Vigili have been a threat all night.
But you also look at the Broadley and Carroll in the centre of the park. They're keeping Holtz and Crawley quiet. Yeah, there's this defensive structure is right on song, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. And those 2 guys, as good a players as they are, they've got 2 really simple jobs tonight. When they don't have the ball, they need to stay really close to Edgeworth's dangerous midfielders, Holt and Corley. And when they do have the ball, make it easier for Mitch Oxborough to get on the ball and face forward. Those 2 players, with all due respect to them, they're not as good as Mitch with the ball going forward. They've all contributed, you know, through the season, but their danger is getting Mitch Oxborough combining with the front 3 when he's facing forward. And those 2 players that haven't, you know, featured a lot in the commentary with us. What they have done is let Mitch Oxborough shine.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we'll leave it there for the next 10 minutes with a half-time break. Broadmeadow Magic 1, Edgeworth Eagles. Sorry, Broadmeadow Magic 2. Sorry, Edgeworth Eagles 0. See you in 10 minutes.
So welcome back to McDonald Jones Stadium. Second half just about to get underway. And Edgeworth down by 2-0 at half time. If you're wondering why I'm puffing a bit, I've just had to run up about 3 flights of stairs in 2 minutes, so just bear with me for a sec. So Dylan Holtz and Bailey Garland to get us underway. They've got a mountain of work to do in their second 45 minutes. Will Bauer inside the left flank, and unfortunately my co-commentators Peter Haynes and Damien Smith have disappeared, so I'll be on my own for a little bit here as Josh Evans takes him on centrally. Now Bauer. Here's a great early chance, and Paul Bitts, like a python to his right. An important save, and Edgeworth have started this second half the way Damien Zane would have wanted it to begin. And Stephen Laurie looks as though he's going to have a chat here. A little bit of argy-bargy in the box, as you expect in these kind of matches. Here he is, Tyson Jackson. Got some height, and Josh Evans, or Paul Bitts has been floored at the back post. Let's hope he's all right. He's prone. This is not good because he would have hit the ground hard, Paul Bitts. And all of a sudden, Brad McKenzie, the magic backup goalkeeper, could be thrust into action. This doesn't look great. He is getting up slowly now. His head would have hit the ground hard. As Josh Evans collided. Look at the whiplash. Smashing his head into the turf, and Damien Smith and Peter Haynes, I had to run down to the pitch and do 3 stories, and you guys weren't here, and now you've got a beer in your hand. What's going on?
What do you mean? Just quickly, on Paul Bitts, he's a solid boy and he's a tough character. Josh Evans did collect him then, but you know what? There's no way in the world, unless he's taken out in a stretcher, he's missing the rest of this half, Pete.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. He's been a huge part of Broadmeadow's season this year. He's probably a couple of questions raised when Ruben decided to bring him in, and that's no disrespect to Paul Bitts. Ruben was absolutely confident that he'd turn out to be one of the best goalkeepers in the competition, he said, and he's done that. He's going to win goalkeeper of the year. I don't think it's any secret. And he's been immense over the last few weeks. Last week, obviously, saving 2 penalties, and he's been good where he's had to tonight as well.
Yeah, Ruben Zadkovic said during the week that he's got the reputation down in Wollongong like Danny Ireland has here in Newcastle.
That's a big reputation.
Yeah, just on Carl Bradbury, look at him defending in the far left-hand corner.
And Tyson Jackson just limping here, maybe a bit of a knock. He's still struggling. So Damien Zane, he's kept faith with the 11 men who were out there in the first half, and Daniel McBreen, you sense, won't be too far away. He is warming up.
Just a bit of news at hand, Bart. This one will get you. There was a washout at the basketball tonight.
Yes, I just heard that.
Unbelievable.
Wet floor.
Wet floor. I've never heard of a basketball game being called off, being washed out.
So if you're at the basketball and maybe you're on Facebook and you've come across this game, why don't you just come in? Just early in the second half, you'll probably get in for free now and give us a bit more atmosphere here and get the crowd up around 10,000, I'd say.
Yeah, there was 4,000 at the basketball and all sitting ready for the game, and it was called off as they're all sitting. So a little bit of uproar just across the road.
There would have been. There would have been. Paul Bitts just launches this one. Matt Hoole. And he got barreled by Will Bauer.
Strong tackle, Will Bauer and Matthew Hoole there. Straight up to his feet, Matthew.
Can I just say on Matt Hoole, like his usual position's like a deep number 6 midfielder, but he's moved into this right back role. Rob Virgili put him in right back a few years ago, and he's really brought it, come at age, hasn't he?
As he slings this free kick in.
Finds James Virgili, who is dynamic. Probably the best I've seen him play since he's been back from injury, from that hamstring injury he received back in late August in the FFA Cup match in Canberra. Now Cody Carroll and Bailey Garland just engaging in a little bit of push and shove.
Damo, just going back to when you were coaching at Broadmeadow, and we had a young Matthew Hoole back then who was quite young, quite green. The transformation back from those days to the player that he is today, is quite phenomenal.
Well, he's a leader, isn't he? He's played, what, 150, 200 NPL games?
And he's still quite young, but the way that he goes about his football, the professionalism that he displays, the way that he looks after his body, the way that he manages his recovery and his training is a credit to himself, and he's turned himself into a good footballer.
That's right, and what he doesn't do, he doesn't overplay it either. He knows his strengths, he knows his weaknesses, he just plays to his strengths. Doesn't overplay it.
As you said, Hainsey, a young man, 26 years of age, and already over 150 matches for Broadmeadow Magic.
Well, that's been the core group of Broadmeadow. I started there, I think, in 2001 or 2002. I can't remember, it's that long ago. My brain's starting to fade. But most of these boys were there when I started back then. So there's been a core group of players for that many years. And most of them played 150 games. They're youngish, but they're quite an experienced side.
And Josh Piddington over 300, played his 300th early this season, which is no mean feat. So Edgeworth.
Just looking at Tyson Jackson on that far side, limping away. He's just about to get on the ball now. He looks like he's struggling a bit, Tyson Jackson.
He's only a slight lad, isn't he? He's only a small man, quite quick and quite nimble, but he doesn't look 100% at the moment.
He was at the Jets youth until last season. Actually scored against Broadmeadow back in round 3. Just 3 goals for him this season. See if he remains out there for... I don't think he'll be out there for much longer, to be honest. He is very, very ginger. And Broadmeadow now through Matt Hoole. And Carl Bradbury is looking to exploit the gingerness of Tyson Jackson, and Rod Lindsay is making the walk across to towards where the Edgeworth men are warming up down the southern end of McDonald Jones Stadium. I think they're actually being told to warm up at the other end of the ground because the Edgeworth and Magic players were warming up at the same end.
Well, I think Jackson's not even waiting to get changed. He was walking off the field then. He's no good at all. He's gone down onto one knee now, and he's going to get some treatment from the Edgeworth trainer.
So is it a Pedisano? It looked as though it will be Aaron Pedisano who is going to come on.
I think this is a good move because you know what? He shows aggression. And at the moment, Magic's showing aggression over Edgeworth. And Magic's right in Edgeworth's face. Every time Edgeworth gets the ball, they're straight in their face and it's causing turnover. And I think a Pedisano is a good move here by Zane. Gary Wilson's just having a chat to him on the bench. He'll show aggression. He'll show fight.
His nickname is Rubes.
I know, I was about to say, as long as Magic doesn't get him mixed up with Ruben Zakovic, they'll be right. Shane Paul going on his weaving runs. Well defended by Patwell.
Adam Corley trying to flick it on with the outside of his boot. Here's Holtz.
And again, the relentless pressure from Broadmeadow Magic on the ball on Edgeworth has caused them to play long. To me, I know they've scored 2 goals, but at the moment their defensive structure is just absolutely right on the mark.
What they've done well tonight is that they've been really disciplined. Their structure has been really good, Damo, you're right, but they've let their attacking players do their thing. They've been content enough to I guess, shut up shop to a certain extent at the back. As we see Edgeworth through Don Bazzari make their way forward.
It's a mazy run from Bazzari. Plays it infield, and coming from behind was Matt Jarowski in on goal. And Paul Pitts has made the save. It was Don Bazzari who scored that equaliser last week, who had the opportunity, but he was offside.
Just before we talk about the change here, Bart, see Don Bazzari started on the left-hand side. He got past Virgili, played it into Wheeler, and you could just see him tracking past the back four. That's what Edgeworth do good, making them runs beyond the back four. Don't they? Adam Corley's, your Dylan Holt. That's where they're dangerous. They haven't done it in the first half. If you can do more of that in the second half, they're going to be dangerous. That was a great run by Don Bazzari. You see him running in, just offside. What a great save. Hit him on the noggin, bit of a falcon, but what a great save again by Paul Pitts, even though he was offside.
Cody Carroll was Oxborough. Banged to ground by Josh Rose.
And I'll just slow this up now, Broadmeadow. No rush. We'll see a couple of the Edgeworth players. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out over the next 10 or 15 minutes. A couple of players looking a little bit stressed when Broadmeadow start to slow it down, Damo. You can see the body language. Edgeworth not too happy about the change in the tempo. It'll just be interesting to see how they manage that over the next few minutes.
So Mitch Oxborough, can he put it on a dime here? Luke Virgili was Arriving late at that back post, but it was overhit from Oxborough.
He's just got a sweet left foot, hasn't he? That went 50 yards. That's a sweet. But you're right. They've got a lot of young players, haven't they, Edgeworth?
If you've seen the free kick he scored in the A-League, scored the one A-League goal, Mitch Oxborough. I tell you what, it was one to remember.
And again, Magic putting pressure high on the back four, unable to play out. Josh Lowe tried to switch play, and it's gone out for a throw-in. I think Magic's defence is really setting them up here. There's 2 balls in the park there.
Dylan Holtz, one of 4 Eagles in the squad tonight to have played in all 4 grand finals, along with Josh Evans, Pat Wheeler and Don Bazari.
Just as that free kick gets blown, I just want to mention what a good story Josh Lowe is. I mean, we're at Edgeworth. They've had a lot of success. Nate Cavalier obviously was the locked-in, rusted-on goalkeeper. Fantastic quality.
Coach of the goalkeeper of the year last year.
I actually, my first ever refereeing game this season, I actually did a line with Josh Lowe, who spent a bit of time refereeing as well. And at the time, we were talking about how's your future at Broadmeadow, at Edgeworth. And he was saying how much he learned from Nate Cavalier and how he's going to bide his time to get a first team gig. And he's out here tonight in the grand final. What a great story.
And he's had 8 clean sheets this year, just one short of Paul Bitts.
Yeah, 3 straight to end the season. 3 1-0 wins for Edgeworth and 3 straight clean sheets.
And it was his quick transition last week against Lambton when he got the ball, threw it out to Josh Rose on the left-hand side.
On 2 occasions, wasn't it?
On 2 occasions.
And on top of all that, just a good young fella.
And a better linesman than you, Pete.
That's not hard.
Josh Evans. So just over 11 minutes gone in this second half and just over half an hour to go. Asked the question in the first half, when does Daniel McBreen come onto the park? Just off the plane from Mongolia. You said half an hour, Smudge.
Yeah, I think it'll give him half an hour. In saying that, he's already made 1 change.
That's a great touch from Majorowski, and James Vigili just burst onto the ball. And Stephen Laurie is not going to blow the whistle. That decision not pleasing the Magic bench.
But then again, the pressure, there was a turnover by Magic, but the pressure on like Magic gave on Edgeworth was just superb, made him turn over again. But I just want to go back to John Majorowski. The amount of work he's doing in defence is just coming across, putting pressure on the back two. He's superb. It's going unnoticed. And same with Justin Broadley in the middle of the park. He's only had a few touches. When he gets his touch, he gets off it. But, and again, good pressure by Broadmeadow.
Very good pressure because Maxwell had to go back to Lowe, and Lowe's clearance had to be quick. And they turn the ball back to Broadmeadow. But Will Bauer has made a good fist of this. He got his boot there in front of Hoole.
And John Majorowski, Damo, you're exactly right. He's getting through a mountain of work. He's going to have to likely get through a lot more work because there is quite a bit of concern about how much of a role Dino Fajovic is able to play tonight. There's a bit of an injury cloud over him. He's down there warming up at the moment, but quite a bit of concern over his quad muscle that got quite a severe cork. And Broadmeadow, talking to him earlier, a little bit concerned that he might not be able to play any part in this match at all.
That's the thing. You would think if he was on the bench, he would be able to play, wouldn't you, Hainsey? Because they had Jonty Bush ready to go. And they decided to go with Fajovic. So, interesting. It's not going to be Daniel McBreen. It will be Jose Atadi. And coming from the field, well, this will be a surprise. That's a big surprise. Dylan Holtz leaving the field. That's a big call from Damien Zane. He's one of their most consistent players, Dylan Holtz.
Well, it's been a big call leaving Atadi out of the bench. He's been superb over there. He scored the winner last week against Lambton. He's a good young player. He's only played 6 or 7 first-grade games. He's a very good player. It's good to see him on the park. Dylan Holtz is a big game player. You know what? He's a little bit underdone, Dylan Holtz. He had to play 120 minutes last week, and I think they rested him through the week. He was very, very sore, so I think he probably carried a bit of injury or a bit of soreness into the game. But good to see Atadi out there. He's a good player.
Could he turn things around for them?
I think so. If we saw it last week, he had a huge impact coming on the field last week. But I was just going to mention before, if there's one thing that Damien Zane isn't scared of, it's making big decisions in big moments of the game. He's obviously seen something on the field that he thinks that Tatey can take advantage of. He knows his players, and he's made a big decision here.
He's the best in the business, isn't he, Damien Zane?
Absolutely.
But you have to give credit to Ruben Zakovic tonight, I think, tactically. And you know what? It's the best I've seen him play all year.
Bauer. They've been absolutely superb tonight. Have the Broadmeadow Magic side.
But we said during the week on the show that Broadmeadow have to be at their best to beat Edgeworth. And you know what? They're pretty close to it at the moment. But there's still a long way to go. I would never discount Edgeworth.
We talked about what Edgeworth are going to have to do as the game ticks away, Damo, to change things, to get back in the game. Does there come a point, do you think, where Broadmeadow actually change something and say, all right, we think 2-0's enough, we're going to change something and lock it up?
Definitely not at the moment. There's still like half an hour to play. I'll just go, look, the game's just unfolding. Here we go. Bradbury one-on-one.
He's got Sam Maxwell backtracking. And Cal Bradbury, he really can pick out the corners with that right boot of his. He did so a couple of weeks ago against Maitland. That one wasn't far from the target.
They're looking quite comfortable at the moment, Pete, and I reckon just let it go as is.
The reason I mention it, you can see now, just in the structure of Broadmeadow, since they've come out from half-time, what's actually happened. They're playing a 4-3-3, but they're defending as a 4-4-2. They're leaving Mitch Oxborough and John Majorowski to cover off, sliding back and forth to the Edgeworth centre-backs. And Virgili and Cal Bradbury almost making a line of 4 in the middle of the park,
exactly
just to have a bit more structure and make those spaces even smaller for Edgeworth to play through.
Majorowski.
And now Virgili trying to slide that one between the lines, and it was Mitch Oxborough who was making the run centrally. Bazari.
And again, pressure on the ball, pressure on the ball by Virgili causes the turnover. Majorowski just earlier.
Mitch Oxborough just signalling to Ruben Zadkovic there. He's not quite comfortable with a hamstring, I think it is. They've sent the players to warm up straight away. I think he signalled that he's okay for the moment, but something to keep an eye on.
You know what? This is the last game of the year. You play till it goes, do you think? No. You disagree with me, Pete?
No, I agree.
Well, yeah, he's struggling. You see when he's trying to chase back. Good position by Pat Wheeler here.
Yeah, good turn, and he's got Cal Bradbury coming from behind him. Atadi distributes wide for Bailey Garland. He weaves his way to the edge of the box, and he was met with a brick wall in the form of Broadley, and then the strike from Wheeler's wide, but it will be a corner here.
That's magnificent. We talk about players not being in the headlines, and Justin Broadley has been brought to this club for a specific reason, and that example there is exactly why he's at the club. He lives and dies by the effort that he puts in on the field. He is an absolute workhorse for this club, and we're 62 minutes into the game. We haven't really talked about him being on the ball, but the tackles that he's throwing in and putting his body on the line is fantastic.
There's the corner call in. Rose was there, and he couldn't quite squeeze it inside that near post. Now it looks as though Jeremy Wilson might be getting ready to come out onto the park in place of Mitch Oxborough, who is running very gingerly at the moment. Now this is his first match back since round 6. First grade match back since round 6 when he injured his MCL against the Rosebuds. So it's not. Well, it is going to be.
This is quite, if it is Oxborough, you can see him coming from the far side. This is quite a defensive move. Obviously, Jeremy Wilson, a defensive player.
Yeah, absolutely. Just waiting to see what will happen here. Whether Jeremy will actually go and play in a 6, which I assume he will, play as a holding midfielder. And they'll push Cody Carroll in as a 10.
You can see him signaling to Cody Carroll, just push up a little bit.
And I'll tell you what this is. This is, as you said, Ben, it's Jeremy's first game back. What a show of faith it is in the quality that Jeremy Wilson has and the player that he is, to come straight back in, not in your natural position as a fullback, but here you go, son, get in the grand final, get in the middle of the park and do what you do best.
And Bart, I think we were at that game when he got injured in round 6.
We were. It was a terrible injury.
And he was having a great game as well.
He was.
Cody Carroll, beautiful skills. Oh, Cody Carroll.
Cody Carroll now threads it wide. It's a foot race between Bazari and Virgili. And Bazari got there first and won the ball.
Good defending.
Did very well.
He's a bit ginger as well, Ben.
It looked like Virgilia got there first, but Bazzari just got there second and cut it off. Great challenge. Oh, he's struggling.
I tell you what, he's in a
Bazzari.
lot of trouble
Yeah,
with a right hamstring. He is no
He's
good.
gone.
Signalling to the bench.
So who is it? Edgeworth have got one change left. Do they go? It's Daniel McBrain.
Has to be. Can I just go back on Ruben's tactics here? He's played Virgilia and Bradbury nice and wide. When they've played against each other before, they've been narrow. So it's been an easier job for Bazzari to mark Virgilia. Now it's the width.
Has he been listening to you, Smudge?
Who?
Ruben.
No. But I think...
Or maybe he's been foxing. Maybe he's been setting up for this big moment.
me and Rubes, we love talking tactics, but I love the width. And you know, the thing is, Virgilia, he's got pace. There's space beyond. And normally Bazzari just backs off because he's in trouble, isn't he?
I tell you what, this is big for Edgeworth here. This changes things. This isn't planned. You don't want to see a player of the quality of Don Bazzari get carried off the field. He's been very good tonight in a side that's down 2-0. But this changes things structurally for Edgeworth. You bring on Daniel Ripperine. He's obviously going to play a big role in an attacking sense. But Damien's got some decisions to make about how he covers that area of the field for Don Bazzari.
You know what? He'll go 3 at the back, I reckon. I know there's a long way to go. They're 2-0 down. He'll go 5 at the back.
Here is the short corner. I've used this a fair bit in the match so far. On this occasion, Matt Hill's ball is just nodded away, easily dealt with by the Eagles' defence. Now Cody Carroll tries his luck from distance. They don't concede this many goals very often, Edgeworth. 2 goals in a match. It's only happened to them this season on 4 occasions in 22 matches.
It's funny you said that. Pete and I, when we were just going upstairs to go to Diet Coke, we spoke about how many times, we weren't quite sure how many times Edgeworth came from 2-0 down.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
Such a young group. We were quite interested about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, there's no question of the quality of Edgeworth structurally, especially defensively, with Evans and Bazzari who's just gone off. But the question we were asking ourselves was, do they have enough going forward to get themselves back into the game? Now that Daniel McBrain's on the field, the answer is yes, they have enough. Do they have enough time, and can Broadmeadow see the game out?
You know what? I think they've got enough time. They're against the red-hot Broadmeadow Magic side at the moment, but they have got enough time. I would never, ever, I've said this a few times, discount Edgeworth. And discount Damien Zane. Tactically, he's right on the money. He gets it right all the time. But I will say, Broadmeadow at the moment, their intent, their enthusiasm, you hear them, like we're in the commentary box up here, you can hear them barking orders, Pennington barking orders. They're first to the ball.
Josh Rose just deflected off him towards Pat Wheeler. So with Daniel McBrain out there now, he's just playing in that number 10 role, isn't he?
Sorry, yeah. So he's kept the same shape. He's moved Pat Wheeler back into the defence and moved Josh Rose out here on James Virgili.
There he is, Don Bazzari. That's a sorry side, isn't it? It's
And
been one of their best.
Can I say he's had an absolutely fabulous season, Don Bazzari. Absolutely brilliant for Edgeworth Eagles.
And now Matt Hoole just slipped through the open Edgeworth defence. And Matt Hoole just caught offside. So the match just drifting along at the moment.
And just see, when the ball breaks down, Broadmeadow Magic, they all rush back into the position, into their set position. They've sort of worked on this really hard at training. Haven't seen that as much over the past 4 or 5 weeks, to be honest.
Now, I think the biggest difference for me from this week...
And here's Josh Lowe, almost turned into danger. Silky Skills got him out of it, though. And now Josh Rose.
Broadly.
Yeah, Broadly, need to be careful.
Out comes the yellow card from Stephen Laurie. The Edgeworth fans appreciate that, but came straight out from the referee, who's been good again tonight. Stephen Laurie.
I was just going to mention, Damo, the biggest difference for me over the last few weeks for Broadmeadow is their discipline tonight. They've been really, really solid. They've made good decisions, and their big players have been big.
McBrain was flying towards it as Bitts took it comfortably. Is he heading towards another clean sheet? Double figures it would mean if he's able to keep the Eagles' attack quiet this evening.
And you look at the Broadmeadow players, they're pointing. You go take this player, you take that player, you take that player. Look at that, really congested, isn't it? But you throw a blanket over it.
Wheeler.
And again, see, their structural, the defensive structure is just right on the money.
And Tatey has some work to do. So he seems to have slotted into that left back role that Don Bazzari was occupying.
I think accidental.
He was just getting back to do some work as Josh Rose had pushed up the ground, but he did it well. Broadly. And Will Bauer. So they've used all their changes now, Edgeworth. Magic with one still up their sleeve.
And that's the thing, Edgeworth's used all their changes, and there's a long way to go.
Tatey. Wheeler. Josh Lowe under some pressure from Majerowski.
Just want to have a quick shout out to John Majerowski here. The role that he's playing in the last 10 or 15 minutes here is hopefully doesn't go unnoticed. What he's actually doing here, he's not letting Edgeworth play out through their two centre backs who are quite dangerous. He's happy for the two for the left and right fullback Maxwell and Josh Rose to get the ball and carry the ball forward and play balls into the midfield where Broadmeadow have got a lot of numbers. And what that's actually doing is that when Josh Rose comes out and steps into midfield, they turn the ball over. It allows that spacing behind for James Virgili that they can counter-attack.
I must say, I don't think I've seen Ruben Zakovic at all sit down tonight. He's been doing doggies along that box, hasn't he?
It's September. He might be getting his steps up.
Getting the 10,000 steps.
Good to see he's got the blue armband on as well.
Yeah.
Warmed up in the boots tonight, Ruben Zadkovic.
Oh, did he?
Red boots on.
I must say, if they do win tonight, he's got the game plan spot on.
As you said with James Pascoe last year, you were so impressed. He's done the job tonight, Ruben Zadkovic, as have his side. Majerowski with a hand in both. The first one he put in, the second he basically prodded off Josh Rose's boot and into the back of the net after Oxborough and Carroll combined to set it up. And really Edgeworth haven't threatened goal, and Daniel McBrain's just come on in the last 10 minutes or so. Neat turn here from Cody Carroll, away from Tatey, and he returns the youngster, the young man. He's got Spanish heritage. He's been with the Emerging Jets and also the Central Coast in his youth days, and he was the hero for Edgeworth last week to get them through to this grand final as McBrain gets clipped by Broadley. And I heard you, Peter Haynes, you thought he's very lucky.
He just needs to be a little bit careful. There wasn't enough in it for a booking, don't get me wrong there, Ben, but he just needs to be a little bit careful. Each time he slides in and goes off his feet, the last thing Broadmeadow need is to be a player down trying to close this game out, especially someone who's important as Justin Broadley.
Will Bauer did well to keep it inside the line. And Stephen Laurie, this could be interesting. Has something been said to James Cleal? The Magic bench are up and about. Now, who is it? It doesn't look as though it's Zadkovic. Is it Mark Wilson who said something to the assistant referee? Stephen Laurie chatting to the Magic coach Ruben Zadkovic, who nods with approval.
I'm not sure what he could have to argue about there, Ben. I think it was a clear foul, unless there was something in back play. I'm not sure what that was all about.
Will Bauer.
Great ball
Onside, McBrain, and almost falling for Garland. They've scrambled it away, Broadmeadow, but it was a near thing. Still Edgeworth, they just can't quite get that wonderful opportunity and put it away.
And that's what Daniel McBrain brings, doesn't he? If he's not scoring himself, he's just a handful. He attracts defenders. On that occasion, it gets knocked down and there's a bit of a scramble in the box. Broadmeadow do well to clear it away, but Edgeworth starting to creep back into this game.
So here he is, Cal Bradbury. Could he put the bullet through Edgeworth here late on?
Magic just need to keep the ball here. Go back to the keep if you want.
Piddington, back to Hoole.
There's a lot of space. They could suck Edgeworth out here. It's all about possession. 3 Ps from Pep Guardiola.
Exactly.
Play, possession, and position.
Well, Cal Bradbury, you just sense from distance he could get that opportunity. He hits them like an absolute rocket. Really bullet into that top corner, as we've seen. So will he get that opportunity tonight? He'd love to score in a grand final. Wheeler.
Majerowski.
Pedasano.
It's good defending, Shane Paul, just close enough.
We mentioned at the start of the game, Shane Paul out of position playing a left fullback. If I walked up to Shane Paul and said, mate, you're playing left fullback this week, he'd nearly... Would he hit me, Pete?
He'd probably laugh.
Yeah, but you know what? He's all about the team, isn't he? And, you know, he's done a superb job at left fullback.
He scored in that 2012 grand final. Dino Fadcevic, the other Magic man who has scored a grand final goal coming into tonight's match for South Cardiff back in 2011. And they went down on pens. Is Josh Evans. Pedasano. Does he have the quality on the ball in? Trying to weave his way into the box.
Shane
gave away the foul.
Sorry, Shane Paul defensively there. Obviously, it's not his natural position. He just sized Pedasano up, used his body, stepped in front. It's very smart play. That's the experience of a Shane Paul, isn't it?
And that's in this last 15 minutes is what Ruben Zadkovic is going to want to see. Those players who have been in and around big games for a long time. We mentioned before, Damo, a lot of players have played 150, 200 games in the team. That's what they give you, that understanding of how to play a game out, how to manage the time, how to manage the momentum and the tempo to make sure that you're not giving away cheap opportunities and you're managing the game.
Well, we're now into the final 15 minutes. This season, Edgeworth have scored 12 in the final 15 and conceded 4. Broadmeadow Magic have scored 10, conceded 2. And Edgeworth, you count all 3 last week because all were in the final 15. Josh Rose to equalise at the end of normal time, and then in the final 15 they scored twice in extra time. Can they produce a miracle at McDonald Jones?
I wouldn't put it past them, but you look at Magic only conceding twice out of 20-something games in the last 15. This is part of Ruben's game management plan. They'll try and lock this game out from now.
Look how compact Edgeworth are in the space, as you're saying. They're not playing with much width at the moment. That's what Magic have done well tonight.
And the other thing they've done well is put pressure on the ball, force the turnover for Edgeworth. Look at him, there's 2 players on the ball. Justin Broadley has just done a mountain of work in that middle of the park.
Pedasano.
He's done well there.
Some work to do there.
And that's the thing with Magic right at the moment. They don't need, they can play safe. Like Shane Paul there just whoops the ball up, whoops the ball up. What terminology do you use, Bart?
Wallops it up there.
Sorry, wallops the ball forward, just away from danger.
So here's Shane Paul with a tricky run. So the basketball might have got washed out tonight, but there's no washouts here in the NPL Northern New South Wales Grand Final. Broadmeadow Magic leading it by 2-0. The game plan has been far superior tonight.
Nice turn by Will Bauer.
Here is Bauer over-hitting the ball to McBrain. It's not the quality on the end of that one.
But then again, Will Bauer, beautiful turn inside, but they had Virgili and Broadley, who has done a mountain of work, put pressure on him, causing the turnover. That's what Magic's done tonight. I think their defence, I know there's 13 minutes to go or 12 minutes to go, the defence will get him home, I think.
Absolutely right. I'm just looking out at Luke Virgili driving his players on, screaming at his midfielders to make sure they continue to stay compact, continue to get numbers around the ball. They're not going to be content with trying to see this game out. They want more.
Yeah, one more would seal it, wouldn't it? That'd put the game beyond doubt. It's Will Bauer. Forward he rushes. Pedasano with the angled run. There's men in the middle. McBrain's arriving. And as is Josh Rose, and he really hit that with some venom. And McBrain is saying it's a corner. Stephen Laurie, the man whose opinion matters, says it's a goal kick.
I must say, Pedasano's run was absolutely perfect. The ball probably just went a little bit too far for Josh Rose. But Daniel McBrain was about 5 yards in. You can see the replay.
Is that it?
If you could pick Daniel McBrain, he would have had a free header. And you know what McBrain's like in front of goals. He can finish. So can Josh Rose.
And that's probably Edgeworth's best chance of the game coming with 12 minutes left. So is that the moment that Edgeworth will rue, or will they get another one? It may not matter because John Majorowski threads in Cale Bradbury. And he's been run away from goal. He now turns and he just fires it.
Good stop, Josh Lowe.
Virgili.
Great save by Josh Lowe.
Reflex save, wasn't it? He's made some good saves tonight.
And pressure by Jeremy Wilson in the middle of the park. I will say, Magic are relentless tonight, aren't they?
They're playing like Edgeworth, aren't they, in terms of that relentless,
That's
resilient nature. And you could say they've been like that this year, scoring 10, conceding 2 in the final
Cale
15.
Bradbury. There's your example, Damien. I mean, Cale Bradbury, who you've
Damien.
Sorry. You've got Cale Bradbury, who's second on the goal-scoring charts, chasing back 80 minutes into the game to make sure that Edgeworth can't construct any form of attack.
You can see how much they want this.
And again, Magic, 20, 30 yards between Majerowski at the point and their back four. Very compact, condensed, not much room for Edgeworth. And forcing a turnover. From Pat Wheeler, our player of the year.
So the attendance, 3,772 for this grand final. Gilly with the attempted flick on. Wheeler now to Maxwell and Josh Evans.
So you can see he started to do this last week late in the game. Josh Evans starting to step in the midfield and even beyond now.
He didn't. He basically set up the winner with a run down the left, what created the opportunity for the winner with the pinball in the box. So they've really pushed men forward. The danger with that is Magic have got the most lethal front line in the competition and the quickest.
It would tend to go, it's worth it, I think. You create that overload in the middle of the park. And I like the referee, Steve Laurie, allowing play to go on, and he brings back a free kick from against Majerowski. Looks like we've got a substitution, Bart.
So here he is, Dino Fadcevic. He's had some injury troubles coming into this one, but he's going to get a chance out there on the ground. He's a man that has scored in the grand final previously. He actually scored against Magic back in 2012. It was a 4-all scoreline, that grand final. And Broadmeadow won 4-3 on penalties, and I believe that was your last grand final as coach, Smudge.
Which one was that? Sorry, I wasn't even listening,
2012 against South Cardiff. Steve Piggott was coaching South Cardiff, is that correct?
In the mud, Damo.
Oh, no.
No, my last grand final was against Hamilton Olympia when Shane Paul scored. 2012?
Yes, we're talking 2011.
Oh, sorry, 2011. I can't remember.
Oh, no. So Majerowski's going to leave the puck. Tommy Russell going to take him over to give him some treatment.
Let's just go back on Johnny Majerowski. He has been absolutely superb in attack. Held the ball up, peels off his back four, finds the pockets. But in defence, Peter Haynes, he has worked his socks off, has not stopped running. He's 35, 36 years old. It's the fittest I've seen him.
And you know what, John, to be fair, he cops a bit of criticism in terms of his work rate. Historically, he's a goal poacher. He's good when we've got the ball, but maybe not so good when we don't have the ball. He has been outstanding tonight, and he has been all season with Broadmeadow. As you said, he's looking the fittest he ever has been. He's wanted to come back to the club to prove something to a lot of people, and he's more than done that this season, and especially tonight. Big games need big players, and John will take a bit of a victory lap around the long way as he walks back with Tommy Russell, but he'll be very proud of himself tonight, and rightly so.
Yeah, sorry, and just on that, you know what? He's a big game player. You mentioned it. How many times does he pull up, rock up, and delivers? He's delivered tonight, and he's had a superb game. So I'm just getting a little texty from my old mate Kevin Helmers out at Cameron Park. It was, and Reece Tippett's on the texties. 2000 was against Southie 4-all, then we won on pens. Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Not a great memory there, Smudge, unfortunately. Cale Bradbury was playing with John Majerowski back at Lambton Jaffers when they won the 2014 grand final. So the former Lambton men who will get another victory if it all goes to plan. But can't write Edgeworth off from this point, even with 6 minutes on the clock.
And again, Magic had about 7 players around the ball. The pressure on the ball, the pressure on Edgeworth players are causing the turnovers, aren't they, Pete?
Yeah, they've just got no time and no space to take a touch and to get their head up and look to play. Broadmeadow have been You said the word before, relentless all night. They've been swarming Edgeworth, and it looks to be working a treat.
Do you know what? They're doing an Edgeworth. Broadmeadow's doing an Edgeworth on Edgeworth, aren't they?
Garland going to chest it off. And Majorowski is getting a standing ovation from the Magic faithful. So he was in that side, Dino Fadjevic and Cale Bradbury, when they last won that grand final in 2014 with Lambton Jaffers. Now they're at Magic together. Almost threaded in by Fadjevic. And while he hasn't scored in the NPL this year, he has set up a few, and a few big ones at that. Wilson distributes wide to Cody Carroll. He's not in any rush. What would you be? You're up 2-0, less than 5 minutes to go in a grand final.
And again, there's different pressure on the ball, isn't there, Peter Haynes? Magic's pressure on the ball to Edgeworth is like relentless in their face. Edgeworth's pressure on the ball, and look, see Johnny Majorowski.
There he is down there with his family, celebrating already.
There's his son.
So will he be there tomorrow at the Newcastle Suns grand final? You sense he will be celebrating with his...
There.
He was winning a grand final. Oh, sorry, they went down in the grand final, didn't they, last year, the Suns? Is that correct, Smudge?
Yep, well there. Beresford beat them.
In that extra time. Dramatic match. We will be there tomorrow, 2:30 p.m, Magic Park, the Newcastle Suns and Guitarra South.
Sorry, Ben.
I was just going to say, Guitarra South, they beat Mayfield United. Mayfield United only lost one match the whole season, and that was in the finals to Guitarra South. Incredible.
You see Davey Ifield down there getting some instructions from Anthony Richards. Probably make his way into the game very soon.
Can I say Davey Ifield, when he's played this year, he's played most games for Broadmeadow off the bench, started a few games. He's been superb for Broadmeadow, especially in defence.
And we talk about great coaches, but great coaches are also flanked by great assistants, and Anthony Richards has done a wonderful job this year.
Great ball over.
Bailey Garland, Anthony Richards, former Lakes coach, he stepped into the void. John Bennis dropped back to the under-20s, and Anthony Richards, the right-hand man for Ruben Zadkovic this year.
And again, you know what? Shane Paul at left fullback's been superb, hasn't he? He's kept Tyson Jackson, who was injured earlier, nice and quiet.
Less than 3 to go. I can almost taste it, Broadmeadow Magic.
This is where they'll just wind the clock down, won't they, Peter Haynes?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking down there at Davey Ifield. I know Davey quite well. He's been at the club for quite a number of years. He's had to bide his time. He's spent a lot of time in the younger grades and reserve grade as well. So I know he'll be very proud to be able to get a moment on the grand final, Ben, and his family will as well. They've spent a lot of time in the club, and it's good to see these young ones come through.
Exactly. Jeremy Wilson also out there tonight, a youngster from Broadmeadow Magic. Will Bauer squares it. Here he is, Josh Rose, mazy run, and almost falls for Bauer. It's cleared away. Pedasano gets in the way of Bailey Garland. The danger's still not gone for Broadmeadow. McBreen got there first with the header. Played it back, and Natady has knocked over, I should say Corley has knocked over Josh Piddington. And joining me in the book is Cale Bradbury. Is that something he said as well?
I think so. A bit of a needless one there for Cale Bradbury, but it's the story of the night for Edgeworth Eagles. Great opportunity there, but the ball just wouldn't fall. Nobody could get a touch and bring it under control and try and get something on target, and that's pretty much been the story of the night.
So this is Edgeworth's 12th grand final. Previous to this one, 11 played, won 5, lost 6. And for Magic, played 10, and they've won 6, lost 4.
See Shane Paul down, a right shoulder problem for Shane Paul.
It looks as though David Ifield is going to make his way onto the park. And what an incredible record. We see Shane Paul receive that attention. What an incredible record that Josh Piddington will most likely hold at the end of this match. 7 grand finals he's played in, and probably, in all likelihood, 7 victories. Could you have more of a lucky charm than that? It's like having a little leprechaun in the side, isn't it?
We always used to say, if you want to win something, just strap yourself onto Pito, because it's probably more than likely. But it doesn't come through coincidence. He's a fierce competitor, and he brings that belief into the team when he's out there. He certainly pumps everyone up, and you feel like you certainly know that he's on your side.
Yeah, one of the premier defenders in the competition for many, many years. Probably not enough words in the dictionary to describe the amount of heart and desire and determination he shows every single time he enters the pitch. He always puts in 110%, Josh Piddington, and he'll probably be in line for man of the match honours this evening. We'll wait and see. Adam Corley, now Josh Evans. McBreen, almost swivelling away there. So we tick over past 90 minutes and there will be 5 minutes of added time. 5 more minutes for Edgeworth to produce a miracle, or 5 minutes for Broadmeadow to really soak it up here. Hool, Fajkovic with the turn, and Cal Bradbury not on the end of it.
Yeah, right idea from Dino Fajkovic, maybe in the first 5 minutes rather than the last 5 minutes, but that's okay. They'll get a chance just to sit in again, get their structure back and defend from the back as they have done all night.
Paul Bitts, he's putting that one over into the empty Eastern Grandstand. Heading towards a 10th clean sheet. And you can't say there's a more deserving man in the competition for the Golden Glove. Best goalkeeper in the competition, the Bill Marnie Award. Rose, now Evans. So it'll be 2 years in a row for Edgeworth. And 2 grand final defeats. 4 straight premierships. Here it is, curled in. And it could be across the line. Well, somehow it's not, but it'll be a free kick to Broadmeadow anyway. Or maybe the footballing god's there. Just on Broadmeadow's side, even though there was an offside, the ball just won't go in. It's as if there's a force shield in front of that goal.
I was just going to say, regardless of it being a foul, the ball still didn't get in the net. It's amazing it didn't happen.
And they may have produced the miracle last week. Tonight, just not Edgeworth's night. And Broadmeadow deserve it. They've been the better side. Finished second on the table through the regular season. That won't worry them.
Look, they'll be disappointed with the performance and the results tonight, Ben. But I think, once they get a chance to look back on the season, obviously they've again been the best club in the competition. They're setting new standards every year. Damien Zane and his coaching staff. They'll be disappointed tonight, but they can certainly hold their heads up really high.
So maybe one last chance here. Cale Bradbury. It's a killer strike from Cale Bradbury, and Magic are on their way to the title now. They can start the celebrations early. 3-0. Broadmeadow will break that 5-year championship drought.
What a finish that is. Cale Bradbury, you can see he's taken a touch on his chest, a fantastic first touch. He's got a lucky deflection off Josh Evans and had the presence of mind and composure, but more importantly, the quality to bend that one into the top corner of the net. Fantastic finish. And if you see that in A-League highlights reel, Benny, it would not look out of place.
No way. 22 goals for Cale this year. He deserves a grand final goal. He gives Ruben Zadkovic a hug. Ruben Zadkovic has been full of praise for him this year. Says he could easily play A-League, Cale Bradbury. With strikes like that, you can see why.
And I think that one obviously just puts a bit of a lid on this game. It's Damien Smith has pulled every cord out of this commentary box.
Yeah, Hainsey, can you still talk?
I think I'm here.
Good. I've got the right mic then. Oh, yep.
Just took a moment then, Ben, as the players were celebrating down near the fence, just to have a look back at Paul Bitts. So it's always interests me what goalkeepers do in that situation. And I think Paul Bitts might have been a little bit emotional back there. He spent a bit of time, didn't get too excited, but just standing on his own with his hands up to his face.
Well, Magic, they want to keep a clean sheet. Pedisano cuts it back. And the clearance, the ball will bobble on top of the net. There's less than 30 seconds of stoppage time now. The Magic fans are celebrating. The bench are just waiting for that final whistle from Stephen Laurie. Look at him. And Edgeworth and Magic have played 3 grand finals. Edgeworth had won 2 coming into this one tonight. This their 3rd. It'll be 3rd time lucky for Broadmeadow in grand finals against Edgeworth. A little bit of push and shove. Daniel McBreen and Bradbury. Tempers just flaring.
Daniel McBreen
And
not
now
happy
Wilson
there
gets a shove from
with the youngster
McBreen.
Wilson.
Well, he has just lost his temper a little bit here, Daniel McBreen. He's got Magic men surrounding him. And he's going to go into the book for a yellow card. Probably fair enough. A little bit of a push on Wilson.
Bit lucky to get away with the yellow card there, Ben. Just couldn't get a replay of that. A hand around the throat of Jeremy Wilson. Not sure what the original incident was. Maybe.
Yeah, he was not happy about Bradbury's elbow from what I saw in this position. So Adam Corley, he's got to be careful here. We've got to be careful here, the Magic players. We don't want anyone sent off. Corley bends it in, and Pat Wheeler almost got on the end of it.
It's been a brick wall, Paul Bitts, over the last few weeks.
And the Magic men are champions again. In Grand Final 11, they claim championship number 7. And after 5 years without a title, Broadmeadow have done it. Their first victory over Edgeworth in a grand final. And at the 3rd time of asking. Better late than never for Broadmeadow. Ruben Zadkovic has his first championship as head coach. And for the 2nd season in a row, the Eagles are left heartbroken. Their season, though, it's far from over. They still have an NPL finals campaign, which takes place next weekend in Brisbane when they meet the Lions. Magic, they fully deserved it tonight. John Majerowski and Cale Bradbury, along with an own goal. Their 3 goals, and Edgeworth just couldn't get going in the front third. Paul Bitts with a 10th clean sheet. Magic's defence stood tall. Full time in the 2018 NPL Northern New South Wales Grand Final. Edgeworth Eagles 0, Broadmeadow Magic 3. They win their first championship since 2013. Peter Haynes, 100% deserve it, don't they?
Well, we spoke before the game started about the 2 teams and their form coming into the grand final. Broadmeadow has obviously saved up their best performance almost of the season for tonight, and you're exactly right, Ben. A well-deserved victory. They were the more dominant team, in my opinion, from the outset. They showed some real intent tonight. They were very direct. They looked a little bit sharper than Edgeworth from the first few minutes, and the quality in the areas of the park where it mattered was just a little bit better tonight.
Well, we're going to head down to see Damien Smith in just a moment. He has got some Magic players down there with him. Haynes, if you want to go and join him, I'll be with you shortly down there. Damien Smith is with Josh Piddington. We will grab him in just a sec, but make sure next week, don't miss it, Edgeworth up against the Lions from Queensland in the NPL finals. Check all the details during the week as to time, kickoff, etc. of that one. But still plenty of football to come in the NPL. And tomorrow on Bar TV Sports, the 2018 Zone Premier League Grand Final. That one between Newcastle Suns, Broadmeadow's feeder club basically, and Tara South. So that should be a big event at Magic Park tomorrow. Really a celebration. I think there'll be plenty of Magic fans there. Now I think Damien Smith is ready with Josh Piddington down there. He is good to go. Smudge, take it away with Josh Piddington, the victorious Magic skipper.
Okay, we have Josh Piddington, the Magic successful captain. Mate, how's it feel?
Oh, mate, that's unbelievable. I I've got no voice already. Yeah, we marshalled the troops around really well. I think that we got in behind the ball, defended well, and our front guys did the job for us. So.
Mate, going back to the week of training, boys are celebrating here behind. Going back to the week of training, obviously you get the result last week against Maitland, but you got to the grand final. You sort of limped in, only won 1 of 5. How are you feeling during the week playing against Edgeworth, who are undefeated in 14?
Yeah, look, the grand final's a different beast. You know, the minor premierships one off consistency and continue the same effort. But yeah, the grand final's a different beast, and I think our attitude and mental side got us through today. And yeah, we saw the result.
Mate, we said during the week that Broadmeadow have to play at their best to beat Edgeworth because they're a quality side. They won the premiership by 11 points, as you know. Mate, guy, you were good today.
Yeah, I mean, if that's not our best, it can't be far off it, yeah. We had a full squad today, 14, 15 guys, even the reserves come on and they knew their job and knew what they had to do to, counter these guys.
Can I say, that my concern going in was Johnny Griff. He's been a quality player for you guys, defender all year. Ruben played with his tactics. He got it right tonight. He was superb, worked well, but defensively for you guys today, off the ball was unbelievable.
Yeah, 100%. We obviously feel for Johnny. He's a massive loss. He's been one of our better performers over the last couple of years. So yeah, we can attribute some of the win to him today. But yeah, like I said through the week, that we've got young guys that have been training for this moment, for the last couple of years to come in and do the job. Jezza, Davey Ifield, they're unreal when they come on.
And mate, just put us on your own performance. We've seen you marshalling the troops. You got 1-0 up, you got 2-0 up. That's why your voice is no good. You were marshalling hard, mate. What a great effort.
Yeah, look, I've never been one to be on the ball and want to be in the limelight. I'm happy to marshal the guys around and work off the back of a whole heap of effort. So I was lucky to have 10, 11 guys in front of me that wanted to win it as much as I did.
Mate, congratulations. Big celebrations tonight, probably tomorrow as well. Any shout-outs to anybody?
Yeah, I'll just say to Loz and Ruby at home there, love you very much, and yeah, can't wait for a cuddle.
Well, there's your mum. You can give your mum a cuddle if you want. Here's Mrs. Pitto. Okay, let's go and get Ruben Zakovic. Pete, come this way. Let's get the successful coach, Ruben. Come on, big boy.
Thanks, Smithy. You were going for us, mate. Thanks. You can be honest now, Hainsey. Tell them you were going for us, huh?
We've got Ruben Zakovic, the winning coach, mate. How does it feel?
Brilliant. Really stoked for the boys. We've got a lot of nice stories, in the team, and guys like Shane Paul. We didn't make a big deal of it because he doesn't like the big song and dance, but it's his last game of football, it seems,
really?
and he didn't want to send off retirement, and he just wanted to win, and I'm really happy that the boys did it for him, and for guys like Johnny Griff. Johnny Griff was spoken about for 50 minutes before the game, mate. So we've got a great bunch. There's so many stories I could talk about, but I'm really, really happy for each and every one of them.
Can I say, going into the game, obviously Johnny Griff out of the game, I was a little bit concerned about defensive line-up and shape, but you know what? You nailed it today. I thought what you picked for your starting line-up, you played with a bit more width up front, gave the strikers, some space. I thought you nailed, and gave Oxborough in the middle some space, and you just nailed it, I thought.
Yeah, I told you, Smithy, earlier on, that I like to play nice and narrow and with my wingers. And, all year people are begging for width. Yeah. And, we scored the most goals in the competition, kept the most clean sheets, won the Masso Cup, represented Northern New South Wales the last 16 in the FFA Cup. And then when we get to the big stage on a big pitch, we give those wingers a bit of width, and that's what you get. James Virgili's given him an absolute bath,
yep.
And Carl Bradbury's dominated for 90 minutes, and like you say, it freed up space for Oxy and Codes. And for me, it just shows you put us on a good pitch, we've got the best team in the competition.
Mate, I totally agree. And the thing is, like during the game, you're looking at Magic. Magic's defence, we scored 2 goals, but Magic's defence tonight, it was relentless. You're in Edgeworth's face. Justin Broadley covered miles in the middle of the park. So did Cody Cole. Only had a few touches on the ball, but your defence was rock solid. The structure, everyone was just absolutely superb.
Yeah, they earned it. That's the word I like to use. They earned it, and Edgy are a hard-working team, and you don't get anything easy. And we knew we'd have to earn it, and the boys did. They wanted to work. They wanted it more. They were tougher, more physical, better footballers. Played the better football and got everything they deserved.
Mate, congratulations, mate. So where are we going tonight?
Can't tell you, mate. You said that you were neutral.
I tipped Magic during the week.
I'm only joking, buddy. I'm only joking. I don't know where we're going, but wherever we're going, we'll make it nice and loud and we'll rip right in.
Yeah, all right, mate. Congratulations, mate. Cheers. First trophy for the club, buddy. Mate, well played.
I've got the 2 brothers from the winning team, Broadmeadow Magic here, James Virgili, Luke Virgili. What does it mean to you guys?
Great feeling, great feeling. Worked pretty hard all year. Edgeworth have had the upper hand of it on us over the last couple of years, and it just feels so good to get it on the big stage here.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Well, it beats anything that I've ever done. So even if you play A-League, it doesn't matter. These are the games that you enjoy most.
You touched on James. You played a lot of A-League. You spent a lot of time in this stadium. But what does it mean to be playing tonight with your big brother here, with a club that you spent a lot of time around and winning championship?
With your brother, you can't beat it, and your close mates. I think that that's a moment that I'll cherish.
Luke, we saw you tonight in a bit of an unfamiliar position. Usually, dominating our left side of the field, overlapping fullback, looking to get forward. Tonight, you're more of a centre back. When your partnership with Josh Piddington was immense. What was going through your mind when Ruben told you were going to be playing centre back? And talk us through your performance tonight.
I played there a little bit in the pre-season, so I had a little bit of knowledge about that centre-back position. I never really played there before these seasons, but having an experienced boy like Pito next to me and always in my ear, making sure I'm positionally sound, it was a lot of it went down to him.
Guys, congratulations. A magnificent game. Go and enjoy the celebrations, and congratulations, champions.
Okay, now we're here with Shane Paul, Magic's left fullback, and it's his last game. He's retiring after this game. We've only just found out from Ruben Zakovic, and here's his little boy. Shano, when the team was read out, we see you line up at left fullback. I was a bit worried because I've never seen you play left fullback before. I see you play wide on the left in a five-man midfield. What were your thoughts leading into the game?
Oh, man, it's just fill the role. There was a hole, man. Griff went out, Chill slotted in. I mean, being left-footed, you get put back at left-back sometimes. It happens. And I'm happy that I could do a good job for the team and get us over the line.
You and Tyson Jackson had a great battle. He was on the right, you were on the left. And we said at the start it's going to be a physical duel because he's a bit of a goer, but you're the same height. He's meshed up really well.
Yeah, no, he's a good player, mate. And he got around me a couple of times. I got him a couple of times. So I think we'll call that one a draw, I reckon.
What are your thoughts leading into the game, knowing this is your last game? You've won a few trophies at Broadmeadow and other clubs. Mate, yeah, what were your thoughts? And also Edgeworth, undefeated in 14 games, leading in, had the momentum. You guys only won one in the last 5. What were your thoughts?
We were confident coming in. We knew that they were gettable, and that's pretty much what we came in with, knowing that if we showed up, we would get the job done. And thanks, mate. And for me, I got up, took the little fella to swimming lessons this morning, and just did what I do every Saturday, mate. And then got a bit emotional when Dad put the old post up on Facebook. But no, it's good. It's a good way to finish.
So this is the Paul family here. This is just unbelievable. Mate, this is your last game. I can't believe it either. I brought you to the club. What year was it? I can't even remember. 2011. I tried to chase you for about 3 or 4 years. So come over, win a few trophies. You won a few trophies, mate. How's it been at Broadmeadow?
It's been great. It's a bloody awesome club. It literally is a cut above the rest. Like every club I've played at, Broadmeadow is miles above. And, I love everyone, all the boys, committee. Still love you, Damo, and it's been great.
Mate, as we said, your photo's up in the clubhouse, scoring the goal against Hamilton Olympic with all the Hamilton supporters in the background. It's a great shot. But mate, congratulations on an awesome career, mate. I'll have a few quiet ones with you tonight to celebrate. But mate, well done, mate. Anyone you'd like to thank?
I just like to thank Mum and Dad and my wife Jess, and that's pretty much it.
Love you, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Damo. I've got Mitch Oxbury with us here. Mitch, you spent a lot of time on this pitch as a Newcastle Jet. You spent a lot of time up the road with Brisbane Roar. But what does it mean to win a trophy with this bunch of boys here?
Everything. It's my first one as well. We put in so much hard work. We work for Ruben. We work for the people that are behind the scenes. This is what this is there for, really. That win's good for us, but our committee and the people that support us through thick and thin is why we want to win.
Now, Mitch, you spent a bit of time off the field recently. You come into the game last week, and you come into the centre of midfield tonight. What was going through your mind to try and get these boys, to lift some silverware up? We know about your quality, but it's more about the stuff off the ball that interested me tonight.
Yeah, all we focus on is our defensive shape. We've got too many threats going forward we love to play all together and stuff like that, but if we're defensively sound, we know we're hard to break down, and eventually the game opens up, and fortunately enough, we're good when it opens up because we've got such quick players.
Now, you played with a lot of good people in your time, obviously with the Jets and Brisbane Roar, but I look at this front three. You talk about Matt Jarosky, James Virgili, but tell me how good Cale Bradbury is. He was not just with the ball tonight, the amount of tracking back that he did. We saw him make tackles on the edge of the box defensively. Now, how good is this guy, and how good can he be?
He's good enough for the A-League. I personally think that, but you know, he's got priorities now. He's his own boss, and he's successful in his work mind. But he's good enough to play in the A-League without a doubt. There's no doubt at all. He defends well, and all you got to do is tell him what to do. He's willing to work, and it benefits when you work hard. You score goals, and that's why he scores goals.
Mitch, congratulations, mate. You've got more important things to do. Go and celebrate with the boys, and congratulations.
Okay, we're going through all the players here. We've got Paul Bitts, Broadmeadow Magic's goalkeeper. Mate, last time your 17-year-old playing with Ruben Zakovic, he was barking orders at you all game, as you know, and as a coach he barks orders as well. That's the last time you won the grand final. That's quite a few years ago now, mate. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's an incredible feeling, yeah, definitely. Speechless. Yeah, it's decent to do it with these boys as well. They're a great team.
Yeah, it's a great boys, great club, mate. This year, you've been superb. You've come across from Adamstown, you played at Charlestown as well. 9 clean sheets. How have you found Broadmeadow Magic and coming across, playing under Ruben?
It's just a mindset, mate. He just instills confidence in you. Yeah, he drives it early on in the sheds and at training and everything like that, and we just jump on for the ride.
And how did you find today's game? You know, you're leading in Edgeworth, like firm favourites, even though Broadmeadow was like probably favourites for the title at the start of the year. Sort of limped into the semis, sort of into the final sort of thing. Edgeworth undefeated in 14 games leading into the grand final. How did you find the week? How did you find playing here?
The week was good, mate, and how can't you enjoy playing here? It's an awesome stadium.
Well, mate, congratulations. 9 clean sheets for the year, mate. You've been absolutely... 10 tonight. Mate, absolutely superb, mate. Congratulations. Go and enjoy the night with the boys, and I'll have a beer with you later. Over to Peter Haynes.
Thanks, Dame. I've got Jeremy Wilson here, mate. You got injured earlier in the season. I was at Adamstown when you got a knee injury and you looked quite serious. And I remember talking to you afterwards and you're a bit upset and you're a bit down. What does it mean to you to be here tonight?
Oh, it means everything to be here tonight, especially the occasion. I'm glad Ruben believes in me and put me on the bench and actually put me on for a fair while. So I'm just happy to be back, really.
Now, I've spent a few years with you at the club and you've always been a centre-back or a full-back and a very good one. What was going through your mind when Ruben is talking to you on the sideline and he says, I'm going to put you on in a 6 in the midfield at the stadium in the middle of a grand final?
Yeah, surprisingly, it's actually, I liked it better that he was putting me in midfield rather than at the back because a bit less stress and I can express myself a bit more in the midfield, so yeah.
And you're part of a group that's really important to the club. You look at young Charlie Dowsey, you look at Davey Ifield who got some time tonight. What does it mean to be part of that group and I guess to be part of the future of the club?
Yeah, it means a lot. We've got a lot of good youngsters here at Magic and I'm just looking forward to the future.
Beautiful, mate. Go and enjoy your celebrations, mate, and congratulations.
Just come this way. We're going to interview Damien Zane, Edgeworth coach. Just follow us this way. So we've got Damien Zane, Edgeworth coach. Commiserations, mate. Magic started on the front foot from the word go. Looked like you started a little bit nervous again tonight, like you did against Lambton.
Yeah, no, we didn't get on the ball again, and yeah, on the big field it hurt us. And uncharacteristically, we didn't defend well. And that's credit. You know, I thought Johnny Madge was superb and was the difference, man of the match for me.
Yeah, he was superb. I thought Magic did an Edgeworth what Edgeworth does to all other teams. They were in your face virtually the whole game. It's probably the best I've seen them defend all year. They were sort of every time you got the ball, they were in your face, caused the turnover.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, at the end of the day, you've got to find solutions. Yeah, and by the end of the year, you hope that players are working things out. But they did press well, and I didn't think we handled it. I didn't think we sort of found solutions, and yeah, we were turning over the ball too much and sort of played into their hands a bit.
Yeah, I thought probably, obviously, you've got a young, youthful side there with a few experienced players, but Magic's got a core group of guys who have had 150 plus games on all, and they were focused tonight. You thought?
Oh, they were. Where we thought we had good matchups. I mean, Shane Paul, I played with him years ago. He was superb. You know, we thought we had a decent matchup there, and I don't think Tyson did poorly, but we thought we could get on top there. He did quite well. we thought we had a decent matchup, and he looked good when he got the ball, but we didn't get him the ball enough. So too many turnovers again, and again you can't blame the group. You walk around, a lot of them, it's their first grand final, and they'll be better for it.
Yeah, totally agree. But some of the unsung heroes for Broadmeadow Magic were like Cody Carrolls and your Justin Brawleys in the middle of the park, putting pressure on your Crawleys and your Holts, who kept them quiet. And they sort of, I don't know, they were just in their face, just got on the ball, got off the ball, and really put pressure on your midfielders, so they had no space.
Yeah, no, and you start perceiving pressure when it's not actually there, and that creates even more turnovers. So I know it's easy to say. You've got to give credit to them the way they pressed, and at the same time, normally we're good enough to find solutions, or at worst our defence sort of keeps us in the game, and we didn't defend well. I'm not going to get up them because they've been superb all year. So it is what it is. A grand final, it's a one-off game, and if you've got more better players on the day, you're probably going to win the game.
Yeah, agree. And just on the defence, I thought Magic playing a bit wider today. First time I've seen them actually, the front three play quite wide. Virgili out wide, Carl Bradbury out wide. We sort of spread your defence a little bit, which in the past, when you played against Magic, they've been playing a little bit narrow. And it's been more probably easier for you.
Yeah, I thought they did play with that width, and I thought that then Johnny Madge was very clever what he was doing. He was getting between defenders, and people start thinking someone else has got him, and he's jolly on the spot to score, and that's experience, mate. He's a top-class player, Johnny, and great football brain, so I'm happy for him.
Yeah, but it was also his work in defence as well. He just kept working, didn't he? It was unbelievable.
Well, yeah, he did, and we didn't think we worked him over enough in that first half. Again, that come down to composure. We were moving the ball too slow, and the rest is history, isn't it?
And just lastly, you've had a tremendous year. You won the premiership by 11 points. You must be very proud of your boys and what the committee and the Edgeworth Eagles. There's a beautiful culture out there. I've seen it after the Lambton win last week. You had your past players, you had your junior players, you had all your supporters on the park singing the song.
The club's in a good place, mate. We're not going to, think everything's gone wrong over one night. But we have to learn from this final series because, we've got to get better against the bigger teams, and we will. Experience, you can't coach that. And sometimes players have to experience, the lows before they can taste the highs. So it's been a great year. I'm so proud of them. I said before the game, no matter what the result, I'm proud of their achievements, and still am.
Mate, congratulations on a great year. Unlucky tonight, mate, but you've been superb all year. Won the premiership by 11 points with such a youthful side, mate. Congratulations.
Thanks, Damo. Thanks, boys.
Peter Haynes.
Thanks, Damo. Not the circumstances that you'd like to do an interview with Joshy, but I'd like to grab you, mate. I thought you were fantastic tonight. Again, another super year. Premiers again. Couldn't get the win tonight, but how's the year been, mate?
Yeah, look, we've had a pretty big year. Obviously, beginning of the year, we weren't really, we didn't think we were going to win much. You know what I mean? A lot of people doubted us. So to even make it here, really proud of the guys. And look, Broadmeadow, better on the day. We really just couldn't stop their attack. And props to them.
Sorry, and we're just talking off camera. You've been 4 grand finals in a row, but you seem to turn over so many new players. You unearth so many young players, and the talent in the youngsters that you've got in this group is phenomenal. And look, things look great for the future.
Yeah, look, we got young guys coming through every year, and it's Damien. Credit to Damien, he keeps bringing them in. So props to them guys coming in and making another grand final, and hopefully they can do it again next year.
Commiserations tonight, Josh. All the best in the NPL final series, mate, and we'll see you here next year.
Now, can you please congratulate Edgeworth and Broadmeadow Magic on qualifying for this season's grand final. Northern New South Wales Football acknowledges Football Federation Australia's support of the National Premier Leagues locally and throughout Australia. The generous support of major partners, the Newcastle Permanent Building Society and TAFE New South Wales, is also invaluable. Locally, the NPL enjoys the best media coverage in the country. A huge thank you to media partners NBN News, UFM, the Newcastle Herald and Bar TV. Can I just say from my position at Bar TV, a credit to you all for all the help and all the support you give us throughout the season. It's time now for the match officials medal presentation. Match officials are essential to our great game, and please congratulate the 4 match officials on their appointments to this evening's first grade grand final. First up, the referee, Stephen Laurie. Assistant referee, Eleanor Hayes. Along with James Clare. And our 4th official for this evening, Ryan Gallagher. Well done, and thank you to every match official who accepted an appointment throughout season 2018. Thank you to all referees for your outstanding work. The DG Williams Medal recognises the player of the grand final. This year's recipient was selected by Northern New South Wales Football's Technical Director Michael Brown and Socceroos legend Graham Flash Jennings. The winner of the 2018 DG Williams Medal is John Majorowski.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank Edgy for a great game today. He's put up a great battle. He's been the best team by far all season, and congratulations on a great season. To our boys, great bunch of boys. To the supporters, wow, superb, mate, the best in the comp. And lastly, I'd like to thank my wife for putting up with all my shit this year. Without you and without the kids, I wouldn't be here today. And with this award, I'd like to pass it on probably to one person that deserves it from our club, that's done a lot of hard work for us this season. Jed, this is for you, mate.
Thanks, John. It's time now to recognise tonight's grand finalists. Edgeworth FC, the players and team officials will now be awarded their medals. Number 19, Aaron McLaughlin. Number 12, Aaron Apedasano. Number 14, Adam Corley. Number 10, Bailey Garland. Number 2, Daniel McRae. Number 13, Don Bizarre. Number 11, Dylan Holtz. Number 9, Jamie Burns. Number 15, and captain, I'll leave Josh for the end actually, I'll leave you to the end, Josh. Number 1, and goalkeeper Josh Lowe. Number 16, Josh Rose. Number 4, Pat Wheeler. Number 3, Sam Maxwell. Number 5, Tyson Jackson. Number 7, Will Bauer. Number 6, Jose Atei. And number 31, Declan Cook. Coach Damien Zane. And assistant coaches Gary Wilson and Matt Garland. And trainer Rod Lindsay. Finally, I would like to bring Edgeworth skipper Josh Evans up to the stage to say a few words.
First off, just like to thank Broadmeadow. Congratulations on a great game. Just too good on the day. Thanks to all the fans coming out. Brilliant, great atmosphere, and appreciate you coming out in the cold. To our guys, commiserations. Proud of what you've done this year, and learn from it, and you'll come back bigger, better, and stronger. So thanks to everyone for coming out, and thanks to the sponsors. Cheers.
Thank you, Josh. Finally, it's time to celebrate and acknowledge this season's NPL Northern New South Wales Grand Final winners, Broadmeadow Magic. First cab off the rank, number 1, the goalkeeper, Paul Bitts. Number 2, David Ifield. Number 4, Justin Broadley. Number 5, Luke Fatilli. Number 7, James Fatilli. Number 8, Matthew Houle. Number 9, Kale Bradbury. Number 10, John Majerowski. Number 11, Dino Dashkovic. Number 12, Shane Paul. Number 20, Jeremy Wilson. Number 19, Cody Carroll. Number 23, Takumi Sanada. Number 26, Mitch Oxborough. And the head coach, Ruben Zadkovic. Assistant coach, Anthony Richards. And I'm going to invite the skipper finally, Josh Pennington.
Very good. How about that, eh? Very, very, very impressive. Could attribute this success to anybody at our club, community, supporters,
fans, major sponsors, Duke, Extra Basic Specialists, Sharp, all of those. But to the most of these guys standing up here with me today, it's the reason why we got this medal, and yeah, here we go, eh? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2018 NPL Northern New South Wales Grand Final winners, Broadmeadow Magic. So there you go, Broadmeadow Magic celebrating their first grand final triumph since 2013. Damien Smith, they definitely deserved this one, didn't they?
You know what we said during the week? They came in with a little bit of lack of form, didn't they? 1 in 5, Edgeworth undefeated in 14, and we said they had to be at their best to win tonight, and they were at their best. They were absolutely superb, and they deserve winners.
Peter Haynes, your thoughts?
I think, to be fair, that's the best I've seen Broadmeadow play in a long, long time. They needed to be at their best today. We knew that. Edgeworth weren't particularly bad tonight, but I think they were just out-enthused, and a little bit of quality at both ends of the park made the difference.
Well, boys, another great season on Bar TV Sports of the NPL. It's been a pleasure to have you two at the heart of it, and we'll be back tomorrow for Newcastle Suns against Harrisau. But we bid you farewell from the NPL 2018 season. Enjoy your night.
Make the switch to Newcastle Permanent and you could get $1,500 cash back on one of our great variable home loans. We reward our customers, not shareholders, and are an award-winning alternative to the 4 major banks, which means you can get a great home loan and get on with life. Make the switch to Australia's Home Lender of the Year today. Newcastle Permanent.